What is up, RotoGrinders? Happy Friday. I would say 2 hours of nonstop DFS conversation. I was going to say MLB or DFS NBA, but we're going to do MLB for the first hour and 20 minutes or so. Crunch Time's going to jump in here on a film Friday. TJ Zwarych, one of the greatest DFS players in all of Saskatchewan, Canada, as well as you got Kirkwood, Kirkdiese, leader of the Juggalos, Tiny Hands Nation. Of course, he's still Kid Yahoo. I don't know when you lose that kid moniker. At some point, maybe it's ironic at this point, but I don't know. At some point, you're just no longer a kid. That's how that goes. Myself and Chop, we're going to be holding down baseball, and then NBA later on. They're going to be talking about NBA and baseball, and of course, you have Roth, Chief Meteorologist Kevin Roth. Weather-wise, we're clean. Most of these games are indoors. San Diego, LA are both currently green. So we should not have any weather issues. If anything actually pops up, Roth will be all over it. Myself, Chop, happy Friday, happy baseball. I think I'm not trolling if I'm wrong. I think your Cougars are still alive for basketball. There you go. So it's a good time. It's a good time to be Chop.
Game tonight, Dean. Game tonight. Late game. The latest tip-off tonight. Purdue, Houston.
9 o'clock.
Yep. About 9:30. Central time. Yeah, it happens. They gotta do what they gotta do. Excited, ready to go. Love it. Let's get it. Juice. Let's get it. Love it. You juice. Do it. Lay the juice, brother. Lay the 8.5.
We're laying the point.
It's stylistically a really bad matchup for Purdue. They've got like one way to hang in this game. That's if their big man who's very good, has like a career game. It could happen. It could certainly happen, but stylistically bad matchup.
All right. Well, we'll make sure to hit that up after the show or during the show and hit up the old Hard Rock app. All right. Let's go. You're not gonna catch me watching the game, Chop. Come on. I got other things to do, I suppose. But we will be rooting on your Houston Cougars. Baseball. We have a baseball slate. Very excited about that. A lot of lineups coming in. We just got Oakland's lineup just dropped. We get the lineup for a 10 o'clock game. 5 hours beforehand. I was watching before the show as I was prepping some stuff. I was watching the Rays play from Steinbrenner Field. I don't know if I guess that's what they had to do, but it is sort of weird. And then there's Oakland who they won't even put a city on it. I guess I'm saying Oakland. It's Athletics. They're not Oakland. They're just the Athletics. Nomads. I don't know, but we'll see where they are at some point. But all the official branding, Oakland's gone. I'm not sure if you've seen that. If you're looking like searching and things are alphabetical order, it's like, why can't I find Oakland? It's just under Athletics. Oh, so okay, that's where it's at. Under Fangraphs and things of that sort. But got the Oakland. Geez, I'm still saying it. I'm going to keep on saying Oakland. The Athletics lineup. Let's see. Waiting on the Cubbies. Did we not get Pittsburgh? That's weird. 2 hours beforehand. You figure it'd be out? Unless I missed it. But Chop. How are things? How has the baseball season treated you so far for one day?
It was fine. I was just commenting yesterday how much easier it is than NBA. You get your lineups. Very, very rarely is there like a change or late scratch in that MLB lineup. You usually get them in plenty of time, and you do your business. And then once you get it, you set it and forget it. You don't have to check in all night. It's just like this load, this relief off your back, man, compared to NBA, which is serious grind. So good opening day. It was fun. I didn't make any money, but I didn't lose any money. About broke even on DFS. Got to watch Juan Soto, as the chat points out here. Cam the man. Got to watch Juan Soto with a nasty sword to end the game against Josh Hader yesterday. So Cam Smith, first at bat. First career hit, opposite field. Don't mind it at all. I'm feeling pretty good, Dean.
Yeah, he looks legit. He looks like he's gonna. Obviously he's brand new, and we'll see. And we know there's some pedigree there, being the key piece in the Kyle Tucker trade. By the way, if anything newsworthy pops up basketball wise, I will pass it along. If you missed it, Charlotte did finally shut down LaMelo, ankle, wrist, tank, so he's done for the rest of the season. Producer Steve's Mets. Tough first game, tough opener against your Astros. dig at the D-backs. That's the last one we had dropping as far as lineups. And it really is obviously the sweats sometimes are goofy home runs, like the weird things that win in baseball. It's a different conversation. But as far as like making lineups, it's much less stressful. Much less stressful. You don't have to think. You don't do like 3D chess. And okay, if this guy doesn't play, and if that guy doesn't play, and if this guy's out, and this guy's tanking, it's just like, okay, this is you don't have to do any of that nonsense. If one guy's out, okay, there's not a huge trickle down effect necessarily. Like sometimes it'll hurt the overall team total, but basically things aren't drastically changing. All right, today's slate. Oh, it's a Film Friday, Chop. It's a Film Friday, and we're going to kind of sort of, I wouldn't say tie it in, but we do our tiers when we rank our stacks later on in the show, and it is sort of tied into movies in some way. So we'll be talking about that a little bit later on after we talk about our pitchers. But an 8-gamer, and the other beautiful thing, of course, about baseball is Toronto is playing Baltimore tonight. Scheduled start 7:07. Lock time 7:07. What time is the first pitch being thrown? 7:07 and 1 second, and that ball's in the air. It's amazing. Like, why NBA? Is it that hard? Is it really that hard? Take note. It's really not that hard. The NFL does it too. The NFL has figured it out. Maybe they kick it off at 1:02. But, you get to hear Scott Hansen do an opener for 2 minutes on the red zone. But, yeah. All right. Chop, overall thoughts as far as today's slate. We still have good pitchers. The twos are out there. Some ones, right? Are some of these teams playing their first game? No, I think these are still two. I guess it's not the two for LA because they played several games. But you know what I'm saying. Mostly, it's going to get ugly in a couple of days.
It's very similar to yesterday. A lot of good pitchers, not that many. I mean, there's a couple that I say we'll talk about that I think, okay, maybe you can pick on this guy, but for the most part, at least namesake-wise, you shouldn't be able to pick on anybody because, it's second day, so you're getting all that. So should be fun. It's just MLB is just a different animal. We're just trying to find the right stacks and stuff, Dean. So let me rip you off of trivia real quick, Dean.
Oh, no.
Yeah, you'll never get this one. This is stupid, man. I don't even know why I'm reading this one. I mean, whatever. From 72 to 74, what Astros player became the first in MLB history to have at least 20 homers and 50 stolen bases in 3 consecutive seasons? Those are some mighty lofty numbers for 72 through 74. I'll say that much. Like, if somebody today goes 20-50 3 straight years, that's pretty damn good.
Yeah, De La Cruz will.
Yeah, that's good, right? Like, that's really to do that in 72 through 74. You wouldn't think, because you would think all that offensive production and stuff was way down back then. But somebody did it for the Astros 3 consecutive years. Can you name that guy?
I don't think I know who that is.
Yeah, I know. I don't know him personally or nothing, but I know the name. I never got to watch him play, I don't think. But it's the chat got any guess? I'm gonna give the chat.
Jimmy Wynn, Rod Cruz.
Oh, come on now. The chat got to be cheating. There ain't no way somebody got that in
Cesar
chat.
Cedeno?
Yes, Cesar Cedeno.
I've heard that name before. I wasn't getting there, but I've heard that name before.
Good job, guys, if you really did it without Googling it, man. But, call me cynical or whatever, but I don't know. But we got a Film Friday, Dean. We got to drop a clue before we get cranked up here.
We got a lot of stuff going on. We're talking a little baseball as well. Obviously, the first clue just dropped. The people know what the Film Friday is. In case you don't, you get in the Discord channel, RotoGrinders.com/Discord, live stream chat channel. Be the first person to tell me what film we are talking about. 1 guess per clue drop. There's no mass multi-entering. You can't just run down IMDb and name every single movie. Get 1 guess per clue drop, and you get yourself 1 week free of RG Premium. And that's not just for baseball. That's not just for basketball. It's all the sports. Football, baseball, basketball, hockey, PGA, MMA, everything with the exception of NASCAR, which is a la carte. And the first clue, you see it scrolling right now, is mound. Mound is the first clue. All right. Chop, I had a hard time with this slate deciphering who my favorite pitcher was. That is not correct, but I see where you're going there. It's a good guess. The chat is guessing. Well, again, if you're guessing in YouTube, you get it right. It doesn't count. It's not Brokeback Mountain, but if it was, you would not get the prize. Chop guessed For the Love of the Game, the Kevin Costner, his second best baseball movie, right? Has he done two or three? Just two, right?
Yeah,
two baseball movies.
Big sports guy. He did the
golf,
the draft one also. Yeah, the Cleveland Browns.
I rewatched that. It's ridiculous. The trades are so stupid.
Yeah, that's real life, dude. You could trade. So, Dean, I have a real quick. Just NFL drafts coming up.
Yeah.
Here's my question. Let's say the Giants. They're at pick number 3. Let's say they're looking and going, you know what? Kind of don't want this pick. We don't want to take Shadir Sanders. We kind of don't like these other guys after those first 2 are off the board. Why couldn't they? Because everybody's always constantly, plenty of teams are always trying to move up in the draft, get up a little bit higher, even not just to number 3, but teams are trying to leapfrog other teams from 27 to 21 to get the guy they want. There's always these teams that want to move up a little bit in the draft. What would stop a team like the Giants, for instance, from going, all right, you know what? We'll trade this 3rd pick. Who wants it? You're down there at number 7. Okay, we'll swap that. Plus, you give us whatever else. We'll get some extra equity there. Comes to pick number 7, and they're like, you know what? We don't want this one either. Let's just, we'll swap it for 13. The 13th wants it now.
I think we've seen this before. I think the Patriots did this before.
I don't know that we have. I can't remember it, but just keep on plowing through and just build up all this equity. And then finally you get in the late 20s and you're like, okay, now we'll finally take a player. What would stop a team from doing that? It feels like that would be great strategy one year, but I think
it's been done before. But maybe not that. I'm not the draft head, but I feel like it's happened before. But I want to say Patriots did that. Or you can just do what Minnesota does, just not pick. Just chill. Just yeah, you guys go ahead. You're not gonna take our guy. All right. But TJ is in chat. I assume it means that TJ will be giving out Spidey Bombs. So hit that like button, do subscribe, turn on those notifications, do those things. So when we go live. This slate, Chop, help me out because it's like a dead heat kind of sort of somewhat as far as today's top pitcher. Dylan Cease against Atlanta, Yamamoto versus Detroit, Hunter Brown in the conversation against the Mets, tough matchup. Jack Flaherty, you could argue, I would probably argue, best pitcher on paper. If you look at it, he's got the biggest K rate. If you look back at last season, 29.9%. He's at the lowest Sierra, 310. However, he's not going to be owned. Why? Well, he's facing the vaunted Dodgers. Otani's really good at baseball. Freeman, Teoscar, Muncy, Will Smith, Conforto, Edmund, Pajes. They're good basically 1 through 9. Betts, I feel like he's not 100%. He can't be, right? He can't be 100%.
No, he's lost 20 pounds there. He got to get back to normal. What's the most shocking thing about that whole him getting sick thing, Dean?
What's that?
Was that I was not even aware. I guess I've always thought of Mookie Betts as this big prospect with, all these physical attributes, just a great athlete. I was not even aware that Mookie Betts is only 5'9". That's kind of crazy. I always thought of him as this taller, most athletic guy roaming center field, but he's not. He's only 5'9". Yeah,
and if I don't know if you saw him, recently, he doesn't look like a very imposing in the batter's box. And again, I'm not here to say he's not going to homer or whatever. I just feel like some of his power has to be zapped a little bit. I have no idea, but I'm laying off him a little bit. If I'm playing Dodger stacks, I'm probably not going to have bets in them. I'm not saying I won't, but probably not. So I'm actually going to have some Flaherty today. And if you look at the ownership stuff, he's just not going to be owned. And again, I think he's neutral matchup, agnostic. I think he's the best pitcher. I think it's close. You could say maybe it's Yamamoto, maybe it's Cease. And then you have Mitch Keller, who's definitely not the best pitcher, but he's got the best matchup. And he's in the best ballpark, right? So I don't know how to figure it out. There's 4 or 5 that are basically the same to me, and I might just let ownership dictate. And I didn't mention Luis Castillo. Luis Castillo, he lost 3% as far as his K rate last year, 27 to 24%. He's really vulnerable to lefties. Oakland was smart to put Seth Brown in that lineup. I think they have 4 lefties now with Soderstrom, who banged out a couple homers last night. Lawrence Butler, a lot of people love Butler. And Bleday, speaking of the Marlins, former Marlin J.J. Bleday, also former Marlin Luis Castillo. Both of them. Now you're thinking the second baseman, but the pitcher was in the farm system as well. But and then there's Jacob Wilson, who doesn't strike out, which is kind of annoying. But in the 9-hole for Oakland prospect, he got a cup of coffee last year. I like Castillo, but if he's going to be like crazy chalk, I don't know. And the ballpark's great, of course, in Seattle for pitching. You know, it deflates homers. Do you have a strong lean as far as pitchers? Because I really don't. And I'm just going to be playing like the ownership stuff and probably going to be a little under Castillo, probably going to be a little bit over. Well, I'm definitely going to be over on Flaherty because that's not hard to do. But I'm curious where you're at.
No, I don't have I guess if I was going to list my number one, this is not worried about ownership right now. This is just who I think is the best. If I was going to rank them, it would be Yamamoto because the talent combined with the matchup. Flaherty has the talent combined with probably a tough matchup, even if you think Betts is a little bit off his game. Still a much tougher matchup than the Detroit thing. And I don't think Yamamoto's raw numbers are very far from Flaherty. So I'll go that route as the number one. But I think you're right. I think it's an entire tier of guys tonight that are pretty similar in terms of who could potentially be the top scorer. And Flaherty's in there with Yamamoto and some of the other guys we'll talk about. But yeah, I think it's a mixed bag here. I don't think there's anybody. Yesterday, it was easy. Like Skeens was in a tier by himself, in my opinion. And it didn't work out because somehow they blew the win for him and all the other stuff. But
Ednar is a disaster right now. He's killing my season-long team shop. He had an infinity whip.
He's probably shouldn't be in the closer role, but that's another story. But yeah, he was in a tier of his own. Today, there's nobody like that. There's about about 5 guys I have probably in the same tier. So that makes it so spread out tonight. It makes it to where you can do just about anything with your teams, and you don't even have to look at the ownership percentage because I don't even think it matters. Now we'll look at some stack ownership numbers later on, but I like it slates like this.
Shout out to the DK Experience in chat. Took 4th in the $5 2-game single entry late slate. Shout out to you. The way we have it right now, we have Castillo and Yamamoto as like kind of the big chalk on DK. Yamamoto currently at 46%, Castillo at 39%. And then there's a dip to your guy, Hunter Brown, at 24%, taking on producer Steve's Mets. Dylan Cease, 22%, taking on the Braves. Of course, no Acuna. Makes that a little bit easier. Mitch Keller at 15%, taking on the Marlins. And Jeffrey Springs at 11%. And again, if you got to work your way down, like, Gausman just not what he once was. Charlie Morton, not what he once was. Jack Leiter, who might be good. I don't know if he's good now. He's kind of wild. Gives up a lot of fly balls. It's weird if you look at his K stuff and it's small samples, but he's got a big swinging strike rate and with 12.4%, but his K rate is only 17.9%. So that suggests that the K rate should go up. Boston's one of the more popular stacks in the slate. I do think Leiter is interesting and in the pool if you're running a bunch of lineups, but you're saying 5 are essentially similar. I assume the 5 you're talking about are Yamamoto, Castillo, Cease, Brown, Keller, and then Flaherty? Or how many I got right? Who should not be in that pool?
Keller. Flaherty is my 5th.
Keller doesn't get bumped up for matchup, though? You don't grade in the curve for him?
No. I mean,
you seen the Marlins?
I would if it was a better pitcher. I don't think he's anything that I think he's a mid pitcher, so I can't bump him up to tier 1 just based on matchup. He can get bumped up another tier, based on matchup. But no, I'm talking a combination of just raw stuff and all that stuff. And those are the 5. Keller's not quite there for me. Although, like we were talking about, I think you could. I think at the end of that tier, you're starting to see Luis Castillo kind of. I don't know. Maybe he bounces back this year,
I
but
was digging in too. Yeah, I know what you're getting at.
I could see him being at the lower end of that tier and maybe closer to Keller than Flaherty or Yamamoto.
How do you feel about umpire data? Do you care about the umpire stuff? Because we do have an extreme pitchers umpire for Jameson Taillon and Merrill Kelly. I don't know if we're playing those guys. I'm not. Just wanted to note that. That's the only extreme we have as far as umpire data.
I use that for like tiebreakers at the end. I'm not setting any rosters based on that to start off.
Yeah. Poll in chat. Are you playing MLB DFS, NBA DFS, or both? Let's go ahead and fill out the poll as you're hitting that like button. And again, we were asking the people to do a lot of things. One will get you a free week of RG Premium. That's scrolling there on the bottom for Film Friday. Let me know what film we're talking about. Another clue will be dropping shortly. Yeah, anybody else of note here? Do you have a Jack Leiter take? Like, there's a lot of promise there, obviously. He's got a pedigree. His dad, Al. I think he's in the Yankees booth these days. Is that what we've last seen Al Leiter? Of course, he was on the Blue Jays and the Marlins, and he had a good career. But, yeah, a lot of pedigree, a lot of stuff. Kumar also going to be coming up as well for Texas. Both cracked their rotation.
Maybe. Maybe.
I think he's an interesting flyer, especially if you want to do the old leverage thing.
Oof.
If you care about the leverage stuff, because I think Boston's going to be one of the more popular stacks.
Not for me, because I'm playing strictly on FanDuel for MLB tonight, and I'm playing college basketball on both sites, but FanDuel is the MLB thing for me. So I only got one pitcher I can deal with per roster. It's just not going to be, and you got to have a good one. You don't have to be the best one, but you got to have a good one. And Jack Leiter's not it for me. Not in this matchup. Not on a one pitcher site. So I mean, on DraftKings, you want to go heavy leverage kind of thing and hope he gets it together here this year. You can. I don't know, right out the gate like this to be facing a really good lineup that's been retooled in the offseason. Not for me, but teach his own.
Lord King Guru in chat says Edwards is going to go yard off Keller today. He's not. He doesn't have any power. He's got a 103 ISO. However,
inside the park.
Okay, that's not going yard though, is it?
I don't know.
I mean,
I don't know the semantics, Dean.
If you hit an inside the park homer, did you go yard? You hit a home run.
It's
I don't think
debatable.
You went yard.
It's debatable.
That should be the poll question. I don't think you did. But he may get into the park because he's got the wheels. That's kind of what I was getting at. Mitch Keller gave up the second most stolen bases last season in all of baseball. And Edwards,
How many did he give up?
33, 30.
Mitch Keller?
Yeah.
I saw that number somewhere. I wasn't sure if that was last year. Actually, for a second, I thought it was that his career number of.
Yeah, it was a spike up.
No, I mean, I thought, wow, is that for his career? 33.
Oh yeah, I got you. Yeah, it's a lot.
That's a lot.
Yeah,
Good to know.
I'm trying to remember who was number one. You know who number one was? Actually, I remember now. Number one of the better pitchers in all of baseball.
John Lester.
No, no longer, but used to be.
Yeah.
Billy Hamilton versus John Lester was the best back in the day because for some reason Billy Hamilton had 3 homers against them too, for no particular reason. And Lester famously didn't throw the ball to first base, but which was just he had this nerve. I don't know what it was. He just couldn't do it. Very, very rarely. It happened a couple times on occasion. But number one, I think it was 40 plus. Corbin Burns.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Burns
you know what that reminds me of? The old stolen bases stuff.
What's that?
Back in the day when years and years ago, Love's Bases, when he was just crushing everybody, he had the stolen base model. He would crush everybody every week, man. And nobody could beat that guy.
The Josh Lowe got hurt today, by the way, for Tampa. He left his game. Fam leading off for Pittsburgh. I was going to go we don't have time for such things. I was going to go on a rant. We're talking about, Pittsburgh. that's their big offseason acquisition. Like you're just wasting Paul Skeens. You only have so many years of him, and this is what you're doing. This is your window. At least try. Pham, Reynolds, Cruz, Bart is batting cleanup. McCutchen, Hayes, Rodriguez, Frazier, and IKF. That is your Pittsburgh lineup today. And Mariners, did we get that? Yeah, Mariners, Robles, Gerard, Big Dumper, Cal Raleigh, Rosarena, who just absolutely banged out a homer on opening day. It was just a monster shot to left field. Garver, Polanco, Solano, Moore, and Crawford.
They got the double catcher lineup. What do you think about the double catcher in real life? I feel like you're missing something if you
You're talking FanDuel?
No. The Seattle has
just in general
the double catcher Kyle Raleigh and Mitch Garver.
Yeah.
I feel like catchers are.
Well, Garver's probably playing first, I assume.
Oh, I know, D, but he could play catcher. Like he's been a catcher in his career, and Raleigh is a catcher. I feel like.
Their offense is they're another one. Seattle just didn't spend any money. They're the best pitching staff in baseball, arguably.
Yeah.
Do we spend any money on anybody? Nah, we're good. Whatever. What's the point? Why bother? Who was their big free agent acquisition? It was nobody.
Victor Robles.
It's not. It's just I understand. Like
again, who wants to go play in Seattle, man?
Seattle seems like a fun city. I've never been, but I don't know why. There's
probably rains too much. Like what hitters?
Oh yeah,
what hitters want to go play in that ballpark? And so I don't know.
It's like a pitcher. Yeah, pitchers don't want to pitch in Colorado, unless they're if you're drafted in Colorado, you're probably bummed. I assume. Denver, fine city, but your career might be tainted. All right. Is there any pitchers we should acknowledge that the people want us to talk about? Some other pitchers. I think it's a fun idea. I don't know, fun. If you're shooting for first, as Dave Potts would say, Jesus good. It's like, look, you're probably going to lose anyway. Like you're probably going to lose. That's just the way the game is structured. You might as well, lose with a fighting strategy. I'm going to play some Jack Flaherty today, and I understand. I didn't wake up this morning, Chop. I don't ever wake up in the morning and say, you know what I want to do? I want to pick on the Dodgers. I don't want to do that. But if you're telling me he's going to be like 8 times less owned than some of these other pitchers, like if you sim it out 1,000 times, we have the sims.
Sim it out, brother.
I didn't do it, but like I didn't go to the sim stuff. Maybe we'll do that in a second. But Yamamoto 46%, and you're telling me he's 46. Castillo is in the 30s, the high 30s, 39, and we're talking about Flaherty at 4%. You're telling me Yamamoto's beating Flaherty 8 out of 9 times, 9 out of 10 times? I don't think so.
No, I don't think so. You might be onto something, Dean. You might be. I would say that's a good. I mean, the only guy that we haven't really didn't even mention his name as far as pitchers who I think is an option is Jeffrey Springs.
Yeah.
In that matchup against the aforementioned Seattle lineup, which is fair, not great in Seattle. He can strike some guys out. He's had his moments in his career. So he's the only guy that I think that we didn't even mention his name that I would be interested in playing. If I didn't we mentioned the elite top tier and then Jeffrey Springs and a couple stragglers in there. The rest of the guys, if we didn't mention them, they're not going to be on my one pitcher FanDuel lineup tonight.
Our guy Butto in chat is telling us it's Christian Walker's birthday, so get excited about that.
Oh, we'll talk about stacks in a minute.
Oh, for Houston, for your
we'll talk about stacks in a minute, but we need to get a clue number 2, Dean. We're behind here, man.
We are behind. The second clue is bear, so mound and bear. That is our first 2 clues. Tell me what film I'm talking about in the Discord only. And get yourself week 3 of RG Premium. McGill for a Dodgers stack. Oh, they're thinking of the ways to get the Dodgers, how to pay for the Dodgers. I wouldn't say you can't play McGill, but he's it sounds like you would prefer to play Springs as a cheapie, and I would too.
Mm-hmm.
I think Jack Leiter's not completely bonkers. As far as the cheapies, that's kind of it for me. McGill will be third.
Yeah, McGill can strike guys out. He also has some issues with command, which we'll talk about, but he's fine. Like I don't think I'll have much McGill, but he can strike guys out for sure.
We are going to make our tiers board here in a second. Chop, do you want to tell the people what today's category is? And before you reveal the answers, give them a second in chat. They can answer themselves. And what inspired today's tiers board? This is your suggestion.
Also, Dean, the tiers board, but also your Jack Flaherty call got just incrementally a little bit better with Will Smith not starting to, and Austin Barnes getting that spot. So
that's the thing with he's going to lose some starts because Ohtani, like a full-time DH, he's never not going to play essentially. So like what they would do, they kind of give him like a half day off, or sometimes Will Smith would not catch, but he would DH. Can't do that when you have Ohtani. Interesting. Okay, continue.
The tiers board. We're back at it. We're back at the tiers board. My first MLB show of the year. I missed it. So tonight, Dean, you didn't ask me what I'm watching for movie night tonight.
Well, it's all kind of blended in together. I figured you'd
ask me. You got to ask me, Dean. Ask me what I'm watching for movie night.
Well, Chop, I know Friday night's your movie night. What do we have? Your film night, if you will. What is on the agenda? What's on the docket?
Well, Dean, I did not watch Den of Thieves Part 2 last week. I watched something else instead, so I was saving it for this weekend. So, boom, I'm going to watch Den of Thieves 2 tonight for movie night, 2 hours and 20 minutes, hoping it's a pretty good one, featuring O'Shea Jackson Jr. and Gerard Butler, which leads us to the tiers board, the best and worst of the Gerard Butler film catalog. That's our tiers board, Dean.
Yeah, I said, listen, you go ahead and make it. I have some thoughts, but it's all yours. But if one movie doesn't crack at least the top three, or if I see it in 5, I'll be really bummed. But and you know how you say I'm like kind of a movie snob, Chop? You call me a movie snob, which is fine. You can call me whatever you want. But the movie that I'm going to tout for is a 26% in Rotten Tomatoes and a 75% with the audience, which you don't get that discrepancy of 50 percentile discrepancy. But I will stand for. I don't know if you want me to throw my movie out right now or not.
No, let me run through mine real quick, and then you tell me. Now, first of all, we've been through this before. The people need to know. Just because a movie's not listed doesn't mean I don't think it's in a particular category up there. Like number 1 for me, his best movie, I'm going to go 300. Doesn't mean Den of Thieves didn't make the list. What are you doing? No, I can't list 2 of them there, right, as an elite movie. So I like 300. I love Den of Thieves also. I had to make a decision between the 2, so I went 300.
Oh, wow.
You see what I'm saying? See where I'm going with that? We've been through this before. This goes for every one of these categories. The next tier, good movies. Not great, good. I'm going Gods of Egypt. I rewatch that constantly.
I don't know what that is.
No? Oh, I thought it was good.
I don't think I'm aware of it.
Okay. Well, put it on your to-do list along with Apocalypto, sir. I mean those are good movies. But like, again, in this category, could have gone Law Abiding Citizen. I love that movie. It's a really good one. But I'll go Gods of Egypt. It's for the really, really solid. Mid movie, Bounty Hunter, prime Jennifer Aniston, Gerard Butler. I'm going to put it in there. All right. Maybe controversial a bit. We get into this tier is a little bit below average. This is our below average tier kind of thing here. I'm going Rock and Rolla. Maybe it's below average because I expected more out of a Guy Ritchie movie. Guy Ritchie was coming off some sensational movies. I didn't think Rock and Rolla lived up to his hype, so I'm bumping it down here. Bad, there's not a lot of bad Gerard Butler movies, so I'm going to say How to Train Your Dragon. How to Train Your Dragon.
That's a kid's movie, right? I haven't seen that.
That's pretty much it.
Did you see it?
I've seen it. Not memorable. Nothing I want to rewatch, so therefore I'm going to put it in the worst category. Now you tell me what you think and what your movie is you're thinking of.
I thought it was funny that they tried to make him like a romantic comedy lead. There was that moment like P.S. I Love You with like Hilary Swank. There's the other one he did with Katherine Heigl that was terrible.
It's not terrible. It's not terrible.
It's not very good. The ugly truth.
I'll watch it. I can watch it. I can watch Gerard Butler, play the romantic game all day. He's good
not
actor,
a romantic comedy lead, though. He finally found what he is, like over the top absurdity. And the chat was on it. The chat was on top of it. Shout out to Brian Hands and B Spurf and Lord King Guru, Derek. Yeah, Law-Abiding Citizen is at 25% from the critics. It's a ridiculous movie. It's completely
what?
It's ridiculous. It's a ridiculous movie. It's not plausible in any way, but it's a hell of a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. If you don't overthink it.
Great movie, Dean.
No, I didn't say it's not good. I said it's ridiculous. It's just it's not.
You don't think a guy could manipulate his way into the perfect cell in jail and have a. Well, I don't want to spoil it for the people that haven't seen it, but yeah, that's a really good movie. I do. I like that one.
It is ridiculous though. It's not. Yeah, but it's fun. It's a lot of fun, and I really enjoy it. So that's what I would have put at number one, I believe. Plane wasn't very good, but Den of Thieves getting. I understand. I'm not going to be that guy, like you said. You gave the whole, why did you can only list 5, and 2 of them aren't like necessarily praiseworthy. So, yeah, you got to make some cuts. Den of Thieves is a lot of fun too. Essentially like an homage to Heat. Not as good as Heat, but an homage. All right. If the people, if this is their first time, what we do, we throw the teams in the categories. 300 is the best stacks. How to Train Your Dragon, that's the worst stacks. By the way, TJ in chat is not happy. He's not pleased with your he's taking umbrage to your ranking of how to train your dragon. He's not enjoying that. But I have no idea. I've never seen it before. I always assumed it was a fine movie. I think it's pretty popular. Anyways, let's go ahead and throw the teams in the appropriate stacks. We'll figure it out as we go along. First game, Baltimore, 707 takes on the Blue Jays. Kevin Gausman. He's kind of fallen off, right? Charlie Morton. Baltimore broke the slate yesterday. The FanDuel slate, I should say. They were not in the DK slate. Double dong times 2. Adley Rushman. Cedric Mullins banged a couple out. Despite the fact there's no Gunnar Henderson, this lineup still can get there. I still like the price a good bit as far as Bo Bichette on, especially on FanDuel, where he's like 2.7, 2.8. Their lineup does fall up pretty quickly. I think I took a shot at Andres Gimenez being a cleanup hitter yesterday, and he banged one out. But historically, he's not necessarily a prototypical cleanup hitter. And of course, we saw Tyler O'Neill, who homers every single opening day, continued that yesterday as well, like 6 times in a row. Where do we have the Orioles and the Blue Jays on the board?
Okay, let me see here. Let me organize my stuff here. Baltimore, for me, just hits the middle tier there. Bounty Hunter. I think they have got a good lineup. Gausman did fall off a bit last year. His we're going to figure out here, but it's going to take a while. If guys who fell off last year, if that's the anomaly or if it's a downward trend in their career. So we'll see how that all plays out. It is a good lineup, which keeps it, in play for me. But, theoretically, it's a tough matchup if Gausman has any kind of form like he's had in his career prior to last year. So they're just kind of sit there in the middle for me. And then the Toronto, man, okay. This is based on, all factors, how much I think they're going to be owned and everything else. I got Toronto in the number 1 tier, 300. Oh. Yeah, I know. And now that I'm looking at it, I like them. I don't know if they're number 1, but that's what I did pre-show for a reason, I guess. So I guess the reason for me mainly becomes the fact that it's a pretty good lineup. They added some pieces to it. I don't mind the depth of the lineup, but it's time to start attacking Charlie Morton. He's getting up there in age. Fell off a little bit last year, just not striking guys out like he used to, giving up more hard contact than he used to. So at some point, everybody falls off and with age, and Charlie Morton's getting up there. So I think we can maybe attack him early and see if we can be onto something.
Yeah, I have Toronto. I did my rankings. We ranked 1 through 5, and I'm kind of on an island. I'm the only one that ranked Toronto, so I'm kind of surprised. I'm just looking at it now to see what Kirkwood and Dave Potts, both ignored the Blue Jays. They probably have them at 6. I don't know. I got them at 2. I have them at 2, so I'm right there with you as my one of my favorite stacks on the slate. Oh, I thought you'd go with one of the like Has Fallen movies, like Olympus Has Fallen. There's like 4 of those, like 3. I don't think I've seen any of them, but I guess they're popular.
I mean, it was a solid flick. So was Greenland. I like Greenland too.
I don't think I've seen Greenland.
Yeah, that's a good. You gotta watch that one. Yeah, you got a lot to watch, Dean.
Yeah, I haven't seen or Machine Gun Preacher. At least sounds interesting. It sounds like a Gerard Butler movie. I have no idea if that's a compliment or not, but yeah. Oh, let's drop the third clue today to give away some RG Premium. We did not get a winner just yet. Maybe this will do it. This just might do it. The third clue is going to be scrolling in just a second. It's stay, mound, bear, stay. And Chop, you didn't even guess the second time, so you got 2. You have a retroactive. They roll over.
We're rolling. So there's so much going on here, man. It's
I know we got a lot going on. Let's give away a week free of RG Premium. Let's move along. It's Pittsburgh and the Marlins. We did get a Pittsburgh lineup, right? Yeah, Pittsburgh lineup did come out. Pham, Reynolds, O'Neill Cruz, Bartman, McCutchen, Hayes, Erod, Frazier, IKF. The Marlins. I did mention I do like Edwards because he's going to, I think if he gets on, he's going to swipe a bag or 2. But there's just no power in that bat. But, you can manufacture kind of like a fantasy homer, essentially. If you get a hit, steal, run. Stowers, Bride, Mervis, Lopez, Conine's kid. Man, it's pretty bad. Hicks, Hill, and Pauly. Yeah, tough ballpark as well. Pittsburgh minus 155. Where do we have? And the Marlins, one of the worst bullpens in baseball projected. And we saw Pittsburgh's bullpen maybe not so hot either. At least yesterday, they were not. Where do you have the Pirates and the Marlins?
Let me see here. Let me pull them up to the top of my board.
You do a pre-ranking, don't you? I think you do.
Yes. The Marlins against Mitch Keller. I have them in that 4th tier, rock and roll, just below average for me. What? They're
never that high.
Well, they came through last night for something like.
Did you bet them on the run line or money line? Yeah.
You're not. I mean, it's Mitch Keller. Is he a terrible pitcher? No, but he's definitely not a good pitcher. Like, not a great pitcher. His numbers are very. That means average. Strikeout rate is not particularly so. He doesn't strike guys out, so there's always a chance. Now, like how many times they're going to play 162 games this year? How many times is the Miami stack going to actually do something that can win you? Not that often. So I can't put them very much higher than that ever. But I don't want to put them in the bottom tier because they're not going to be owned very high, and he could do maybe something against Keller. I don't know. So I'll put them in the 4th tier. The Pittsburgh stack to me is going up in the Gods of Egypt, number 2, against Connor Gillespie. Who's Connor Gillespie? Like, I thought he was a second baseman back in the day or something. I don't know.
I think he played for Texas. There's not much of a track record. He's kind of old too. The Marlins he's not expected to be very good. If that's what you're asking.
No, I'm asking like legitimately.
It was a rhetorical question.
Yeah, like the number. He does have some numbers, and they're not good. And Pittsburgh has they're not a great lineup. That's what kind of holds it back. But they've got some pieces in there that can do some damage in that top 6. I probably would avoid 7, 8, 9. But in that top 6, there's some pretty decent hitters. And there's, again, I was looking at the RG stack stuff today, and ownership's not that high on Pittsburgh. So I could have them a little higher than the field.
Yeah, a couple people said he's related to the guy for the Suns. I don't know if that's true or not. Gillespie, I'm not certain. Maybe they're just messing around.
I feel like I need the chat to double check. Wasn't there like a position player named Connor Gillespie at some point in baseball or something? I don't even know. Or
it sounds like a name I've heard.
This is him, and he's a pitcher now. Like, what was that? Rick Ankiel changed his whole thing. Maybe
Rick Ankiel became a center fielder. Yeah. There's that one game Rick Ankiel had. What do you got, Steve?
There was a great basketball player. Maybe it was Big East Gillespie.
I think you're stretching the great on that one.
He was a great college player.
The Villanova guy.
Yeah, I think it was Villanova. I think that's what it was.
Yeah, it was all right. Villanova got some. Villanova has those exciting white basketball players.
The wine.
Connor Gillespie, who's the one that, with the Minnesota now that played for New York last year, got traded.
Colin Gillespie apparently is the guy that.
Oh yeah, that's his name.
They're talking about in chat. All right, so yeah, point guard for Nova. How come he's not in the Knicks? He's not good enough. Isn't that where everybody?
I think he was a different year than like Hart and all of them.
Oh, was he? Okay. He's not in the
he was a few years after they all left.
Boston and Texas 9 total. One of the bigger totals on the board. Basically a coin toss. Boston's slight favorite, has a 4 or 5 total. Yeah, we got Duran, Devers, Bregman, Casas, Story, the rookie Christian Campbell, Abreu, Wong, Rafaela. Taking on Texas, it's a righty and Tanner Houck. So that means we have Jock Jams starting. I wonder how quick they are, because a lot of previous teams wouldn't let Jock hit against lefties. Just kind of thinking how quick is that hook, and does he come out instantly if a lefty comes in there? Is it situation dependent? Because sometimes, especially this time of year, you might just get 2 at bats. If you get a fairly quick hook for Houck, 85 pitches or whatever. Just a thought. But, yeah, where do we have the Rangers and Boston?
Rangers and Boston. Texas for me. All right, so first of all, this is a very offensive-friendly game, in my opinion. Texas is going to go in that second tier for me, Gods of Egypt. Tanner Houck just wasn't striking anybody out last year. He had a rough spring. His last start of spring, just a while back, he gave up 10 runs, I think it was. I think that was his last start. It hasn't looked particularly good. And Texas has, I think that they made as much of some additions to their lineup this year as they could, with given the structure of their contracts on their team. They added some pieces, some veteran guys that I think are very interesting, Peterson and Berger and those guys. So I don't mind the lineup at all. I don't mind the matchup, that's for sure. On the other side, Boston, I just feel like Jack Leiter is still proven otherwise. I just don't think he's got it right now. So, and I love what the Boston lineup could be, 1 through 6, maybe 1 through 7, actually all the way through. What the hell, man? 1 through 9. I like the Boston. I'm gonna go with a 1, tier 1 on this one, because you can attack this. You can attack your stacks with the bottom of the like if I go look on RG prop stuff right now, and people are trying to give you their best props of the night. There's multiple Wilyer Abreu props going over his stuff tonight. Well, hey, that's the number 7 hitter, and if those guys think that Wilyer Abreu down at the number 7 spot is going to be, something that does damage, they've got a young rookie who's really good, batting 6. Connor Wong last year, I think, showed he's a very good offensive catcher. He's down there. I could go through this entire lineup here and mix and match. That can get you away from the ownership right there. So I'm putting them in tier 1.
All right. By the way, I was checking their bench, and it's are they really gonna? And like we saw yesterday, Pilar started, and then we saw Peterson come in once the righty came in. But Kevin Pilar is not somebody you have to get out there. Just if a lefty comes in, is Peterson just gone? We'll see how that goes down. We'll figure that out as the season progresses. So one of my bigger takes in the slate is one of the most popular hitters on the slate, Chop, is Rafael Devers. And I don't know, man. It's bad vibes. He had very little spring training. They kicked him off third base. Last year, if you remember last year, he had these shoulders that were shot. If you look at the advanced stuff, the exit velocity stuff, it was a clear decline in the back half of the season. And I don't know if he ever got healthy of that. He was bummed. He's DHing now, and he doesn't seem to be happy about it. They got to sit him down and just say, listen, Bregman's a better fielder than you, and that's that. I could be wrong, and he can hit 2 home runs tonight. I'm just not certain. Again, I'm not certain he is 100%. I think he struck out 3 times yesterday. I'm not pointing to that as small sample stuff. We saw with Jackson Churios struck out 5 times yesterday. Trust me, you can play Jackson Churios going forward. It's fine. It's going to be okay. There's the best players in the world. They're going to have terrible days. I don't think I'm going to play Devers in my main Boston stack. I don't know if I'm kind of asking for it, Chop, but it's also a way to be different because he's one of the most popular players as far as big spends on the board. I'd rather big spend, different position, same team, Jarren Duran. Chop, I'm a sucker for leadoff hitters on the road. Nobody's better positioned to get that precious fifth at bat. Guaranteed, nine innings of ABs. And he has multiple routes to get there. He's a 20-30 guy, right? 20 homers. If they walk him, and Jack Leiter will do that. Jack Leiter gets a lot of walks. That walk can turn into a steal, a run. All right, we're halfway home to a home run, basically. So, yeah, I like Duran more as a big spend than Devers. That is it's a call I'm making today, Chop. Got 4 games left. No, 5 games left to go. Again, there'll be basketball. If you guys are tuning in for basketball, will be discussed in crunch time. So, it's just tricky with crossover season. It's hard to cater to everyone and everything. We're doing our best. Of course, if you have content, if you have access to RG Premium, you can just look up the premium stuff. But as far as the shows, this is the best we can do. We got TJ and Kirkwood coming on later, as well as Roth. Roth discussing any weather that's out there lurking. Last I saw, there is nothing to be alarmed about. We got the Padres: Tatis, Arise, Machado, Merrill, Cronenworth, Bogarts, Sheets, Hayward, and Maldonado. Man, that lineup gets rough, doesn't it? All right. We shall move on, and let's talk about the Mets and the Astros. 8 total. Hunter Brown taking on Tyler McGill. Your assessments of your Astros and producer Steve's Mets.
The Mets for me are going to go into tier 3. Bounty hunter. They're there. They're average tonight. I think it's a really good lineup, in general this year. But just tonight, Hunter Brown, because Hunter Brown, like if we do this game a month from now, I'll have a better assessment of who Hunter Brown is this year. Like, he's still a young guy. Is he going to take a step forward and be even better? Because, once he started throwing that, I want to say it was a changeup. Anyway, to attack the right-handed batters inside last year, like, his whole season turned around. And he was exceptional after that. So if he can do that and he takes another step forward, he'll be an ace. And I don't want to stack against him. Or is he going to fall back down a little bit here this year? That's the question. So I'm not sure about Hunter Brown. Therefore, I'm not as sure about the New York Mets stack tonight. It's kind of could go anywhere with it. So I'm just going to put them in tier 3. If you want to put them somewhere else, you can. I don't know. Now, the Astros, Tyler McGill, I think it's a new lineup, a deeper lineup. They traded off some quality for some quantity, and I don't think that's a bad thing in baseball. That's terrible in basketball. You don't want to trade an elite player for 3 really good ones, I don't think, But in baseball, I don't think it's bad. They got rid of some quality, but they came in with some quantity. So it's making the lineup deeper. So I don't mind that. Tyler McGill definitely can strike people out, but he also can give up a lot of walks. That's what we want for our stacks, some walks. So, I think the Astros are positioned to be a pretty decent stack tonight if things work out well for them. And, we're in the second game, so everybody's relatively fresh, but you don't want to burn your bullpen like a whole lot. And the Mets did have to go to the bullpen really early yesterday in a kind of a tight game. And so maybe some of those guys don't even see the field, the better arms, or they're a little bit tired from that one. So, and again, the Astros can get you 1 through 7, I think, are pretty good hitters. Christian Walker's birthday, you got the birthday narrative. So lots going on here.
Yeah, I love the Paredes signing. I was talking about it yesterday. If you look at the advanced stuff, you look at Savant.
It wasn't a signing.
Oh, the trade. Yeah, the trade for him. He nobody pulls the ball in the air down the line, more than Paredes.
You got me. I forgot
that
about
ballpark
that.
is just perfect. It's just perfect.
I was going to mention that. Yeah, this thing is. I think Yordan Alvarez might be the only left-handed batter on the whole roster now. So they're going right-handed heavy, and that's going to pay dividends at home in that short porch. And Paredes is the poster boy for, like you said, pulling it with those home runs down there. So I think that's really good.
Victor Carantini, the backup catcher, is a switch hitter. But yeah, your point is still made. Yeah, just a slew of righties there for Houston. Jamison Tyon taking on Merrill Kelly. We'll talk about that in a second. First, let's drop clue number 4. By the way, no pressure, but producer Steve, he got it right. He got it right. When I gave him all 5 clues at once, but he got this right. So it's very gettable. It's very gettable. The 4th clue for Film Friday, mound, bear, stay. And the 4th clue is Quaalude. That is the 4th clue. Type fast. Jamison Tyon taking on Merrill Kelly. No Cubs lineup just yet, right? I don't think so, unless it just dropped on us. No. Brandon Pfaadt extended by the Diamondbacks, so shout out to him. We do have a no Cubs just yet. We do have the Diamondbacks. Carroll, Marte, Gurriel, Naylor, new D-back, Pavin Smith, possible pinch hit stuff there, but yeah, you figured you'd start against the righty. Suarez, Thomas, Perdomo, and Herrera taking on the Cubbies. No lineup just yet. We're expecting it's Hap. Chop, you got it right. Kyle Tucker, Suzuki, Bush, Swanson, Horner, Pete Crow Armstrong, Matt Shaw, and Amaya. Thoughts on the Cubs and the D-backs?
Where are we at? Cubs, D-backs?
Yeah.
D-backs, Cubs. Let me pull them up. Yeah, that was the Quaalude. That was it. All right, let's see. Cubs, D-backs. I like both these offenses. So I'm going to go, I don't know what the Arizona, I'm going to go on both teams. Put them both in tier 2, Gods of Egypt. Now, Arizona is the top team total on the board, so you can't ignore that. And typically that might be enough to draw you a number 1 spot, in the top tier. But with that, it's always going to be, when you have the highest team total, is going to come with a lot of ownership. So that's going to knock them down for me just a little bit. But I still, I still think that they're in a pretty good spot here against, we're trying to attack some pretty good pitchers tonight. So, nothing's going to feel super comfortable. So I don't mind going against Tyon in tier 2. And for the Chicago Cubs, don't mind the lineup. Don't mind the matchup with Merrill Kelly, who wasn't great last year, didn't strike out a ton, walked a few guys, gives up hard contact. Nice team total here. Again, I like some of the additions to the lineup, so I'll put the Cubs in tier 2 also.
Yeah, I like the Cubs a good bit. I saw somebody in chat mention Little Big League randomly in chat. I don't know if you saw it earlier. Do you know the story of Little Big League and Pete Crow Armstrong? Are you aware of this? Have you seen Little Big League?
Sounds familiar. I probably have, but go ahead and give me the
story. The kid becomes a man. He's his father owns the company or owns the Minnesota Twins, and somehow becomes the manager at 12 years old. He's a big stat head. He was way ahead of it as far as analytics. It came out in the 90s or so. But his mom, and the character in the movie, his mom is actually Pete Crow Armstrong's mom in real life.
Very interesting.
Fun fact. There you go. I believe we have a winner, by the way, today for today's Film Friday. Who got it first? Several people did guess it. Yeah, I figured that was a giveaway. But yes, we had several people. The fastest finger was T. Carter. Shout out to T. Carter. We'll just tell the people, just for funsies you don't know just yet, the last clue is bull. Bull is the last clue. If you're playing along at home, you didn't see the answer, that is the last clue. They are mound, bear, stray, Quaalude, and bull. That are your 5.
Wait, what was clue 3?
Clue 3 was stay. Did you miss stay?
Oh, I thought you said something else. That threw me off.
I'm not leaving.
No, I thought the word was something else. I wasn't looking at the ticker.
Yeah.
I thought it was stray.
Oh, okay.
I don't think I would have got it anyway, because we got a lot on our plate here, Dean. But
there's a lot going on. We're spinning a lot of plates here for sure.
But definitely I need to pay attention better next time.
Well, if you're playing basketball, Clowney was ruled out. He had the fish. There you go. Producer Steve's on top of it. Well, he's got there it is. Rui, that's for Saturday. Let's not acknowledge that. Watford available to play for Brooklyn, as is Zaire Williams. Okay. Next game we're going to talk about, there's 3 left here, Chop. Crunch time coming in 15 minutes or so, 15, 20 minutes. You got Roth, you got TJ Zwarych, you got Kirkwood, baseball, basketball. We're doing baseball first because, as Chop was saying earlier, there's so rarely is a scratch. Like the stuff we're going to say at 5 o'clock would basically be the same stuff somebody would say at 6:30, 6:45. The stuff we say at basketball at 5 o'clock, it might just go right in the garbage can. Just throw it out. All that was we're just wasting time waiting for all the official who's in and out, who's in and who's out stuff. Okay, Ronaldo Lopez taking on Dylan Cease, just a 7 total out there in San Diego. San Diego is a minus 135 favorites. Profar still has his revenge, I imagine. We saw the rookie Drake Baldwin almost went yard yesterday. He was one of my plays. Big time prospect here for Atlanta. We don't have the lineup just yet, but if he cracks it, he's an interesting cheapie. Dead center, just missed. Do like him as far as one of my salary savers. How do you feel about the Padres and the Braves?
Yeah, so let's see. The Braves against Dylan Cease, who's obviously a pretty good pitcher in general. So that's not a great thing. The lineup is solid for sure. Can go.
Just came out, by the way. I don't know if you see it.
Let me circle to my line. I actually don't have it yet.
Profar, Riley, Olsen, Ozuna, Albies, Harris. The rookie is back. Baldwin, Allen, and Kelnick. So there you go.
Yeah, so just Nick Allen in there instead of Arcia.
Yeah.
It's it was already going to be a lineup where I said I thought that about 7 really deep if Drake Baldwin can get going. So I don't hate Atlanta, but in this particular matchup, I don't want him. Cease is really, still really good. Still strikes out a bunch of guys. Still you're still not going to get a ton of hard hits on him and all that other stuff. So in the grand scheme of things, I don't want to stack against him. So Atlanta's going to go in tier 4 for me. Just not on a big slate for me. Now, here goes one for you, Dean. The San Diego offense against Ronaldo Lopez. Looking at the RG stack optimal / ownership stuff, just for stacks, not individual batters. The opto doesn't give San Diego a ton of love. It's like way down on it, but the ownership is way low on them for a reason. I got San Diego because of that. I got them in tier 1, Dean. Call me crazy.
Ooh.
Yeah, call me crazy. But sometimes you got to take chances in GPPs. Ronaldo Lopez was before last year.
Overachiever, right? Is that what we're going to say?
Before last year, would you have thought Lopez was like a really good MLB pitcher? Nah,
we used to pick on him.
Yeah, he had a really good year last year. So was he a one-hit wonder? We don't know. But what I do know is looking at what he's done in spring training, and I'm not trying to do everything on spring training numbers, but a major velocity dip in spring training. So I got to think that probably carries over maybe to the beginning of the year, if he can even iron it out at all. Come in here with a velocity dip against San Diego, who's got a phenomenal lineup. I really like their lineup. Outside of those last 2 guys,
how deep do you like it? Is what I'm.
Not the last 2 guys, but I think Gavin Sheets at 7 is a pretty good cutoff point.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean Tatis is juggernaut. Machado hit the ball really well yesterday.
But like a Rise, I can't play that guy. Like I don't want to play him.
Yeah, you don't want. But Jackson Merrill is just like the real deal. Cronenworth in the matchups, in the good split matchups, is proven his worth time and time again. Bogarts isn't what he was in Boston, but he's still got something. And that's your number 6 guy. I like the lineup. I like the depth of it. I like the power. I like the explosiveness. But I'm banking here on Lopez not being particularly good to start the year. Maybe a 1-year wonder and with a velocity dip and all that other stuff. And could be one of those things where you look back a couple of starts from now and going, damn, we should have picked on Lopez from the beginning. Maybe not. Maybe he bounces back and it was just a veteran spring training that he didn't give much effort to. But I got to hang my hat on something here, man. And I think he's going to be maybe a little bit down to start this year. So I'm putting San Diego in tier 1.
Yeah, late bloomer, 30 years old last year, Lopez, and he had a big year. I'm not really a believer either. I think he's fine, but in the as far as the slate goes, I have him further back as well. Did you see that quote for Tatis, by the way? I don't know if you caught Tatis. Tatis is talking about stealing bases. He stole 2 bases on opening day. He said, and here's a quote, last year I was standing on one leg. You can really see how healthy I am right now. It's a huge part of my game, one of my favorite parts of my game. I really missed it. I read that quote, and I bet him to steal a base again.
You got, people forget before the injuries, and there were multiple injuries throughout the course of the last 2 years. He was thought of as one of the best 2 or 3 players in the game, period.
Well, then you got the PED thing as well.
Tomato.
Well, I'm saying
he had the motorcycle accident. He had a motorcycle accident. He had another injury on the field. So we haven't seen a healthy Tatis combined with Jackson Merrill. That's what I'm intrigued. But Jackson Merrill is really good, man. Mm-hmm. So I'm thinking that this lineup is
Merrill or Curio. So you get one of the Jacksons.
Merrill
or Holiday.
I haven't seen enough of Holiday, what he can do. Merrill has proven it against Major League pitching. Merrill went to the playoffs and delivered. That's a big deal, I think.
All right, we got 2 games to go, Chopper. The Athletics taking on Seattle. Jeffrey Springs, Luis Castillo, 7 total. We were talking about Castillo to start the show. He's going to be one of the more popular pitchers to play today, and his Ks last year went from 27% to 24%. And if you look at the splits last season, as far as against lefties, well, righties, really good. He held up against righties, 28.8%, ISO 118, 255 WOBA, a lot of ground balls, good stuff. But against lefties, 237 ISO, that's kind of alarming, and a 369 WOBA, that's bad, and a K percentage less than 20%. That's why I think Butler's a really good contrarian play today. JJ Bleday, plenty of power. If you look at the Plate IQ tool, which I use that more than anything else as far as making my lineups, a lot of green here. Butler in the green as far as ISO and WOBA. The first 5 hitters are in the green as far as WOBA and ISO. Now they strike out a lot too. So I think it's, I get why Castillo is going to grab some ownership. Maybe play both sides of it. This is the old talk out of both sides of your mouth. But Butler, Bleday, Soderstrom, I can get the Brown as well. And Rooker, just because, he's another guy just hits the ball so hard. If you look at the advanced stuff, he was one of the top guys last year.
And they signed Max Muncy in the offseason.
Yes. Not that Max Muncy, but yeah.
No.
This Jacob Wilson is like a rise, by the way. So at least they bat him at the bottom, but I know he's a rookie. In the minors, they just did not strike out. He did have 81 at bats last year in the majors, 9.9% as far as Ks. You know what his ISO was in 81 at bats against righties last season?
0.085.
14.
0.014?
Yeah.
Ooh, that's tough to do, man.
That's like a double. He hit like a double, I think, maybe. Yeah. But he's a good bat on ball guy. I don't want him up there.
Okay, well, listen. Then that makes the A's extremely sharp for putting him at number 9. If you can just get on base for your leadoff hitter, that's all you ask for. So,
yeah.
Sharp. That's sharp. Speaking of sharp, Seattle in general, I kind of like their lineup this year. It has some spark to it.
Cheap is the word I would think of, but go ahead.
It has some spark to it. There's some guys in here. I don't know if you follow Brent Rooker on Twitter, but he's a really good follow. He drops a lot of baseball knowledge constantly. I like Brent Rooker. Lawrence Butler, I like. Shea Langoliers has had some big game. Bleday, Soderstrom last night. We saw the type of upside some of these guys have. I like it. We're going against Luis Castillo, so I can't put it above tier 3. But Castillo could be, on the downfall of a career. Who knows if he's on the backside or not? But it was a great start to the year last year for him. A really rough last 70% or so for Castillo. So we'll see if that plays out this year. And I like the lineup. So I'll go tier 3. This is a pretty big time leverage spot. This is in the RotoGrinder stack tool, the lowest owned stack of the night. So that gives them something going on there. On the flip side, I do like Jeffrey Springs a little bit. I don't think I want to attack him. I think he's a pretty decent pitcher. And Seattle's lineup isn't like this big formidable lineup, and it's a bad ballpark for hitting. So they're going in tier 4 for me.
One game to go. Detroit Dodgers 7.5. It's a total. Dodgers have a 4.5 team total. They're minus 225 favorites. Jack Flaherty, former Dodger, taking on Yamamoto. No Detroit lineup just yet. No Chicago either, right? So we have all the lineups with the exception of the Cubbies and Detroit. You mentioned earlier Will Smith did not crack the lineup. Is Barnes a personal caddy for anybody this year? Or is this, I don't know if it's Yamamoto's personal guy, not sure. But
I would, it's only the second night of the season, so he might be.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't recall what it was last season. I know. Didn't Kershaw always have his guy? Now he's obviously not available, but the Dodgers will accommodate for certain pitchers, of course. Ohtani, Betts, Freeman, Teoscar, Muncy, the other Max Muncy, Edmund, Conforto, Pajes, and Austin Barnes taking on Detroit. What are our thoughts?
Well, my first thought is, Dean, what are the odds that two guys named Max Muncy can end up in the MLB at the same time? It's such a rare name.
Yeah.
And they both at the same time they're in the MLB.
Mm-hmm.
But this is what gives the spreadsheet lovers nightmares.
Oh yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, two Max Muncy. It's rough out there in the hood, but in general here for this game, I'm ranking Detroit down in tier 5. It's the same lineup as it was last year for the most part. And they were bad last year. And they made their run to the playoffs, and in the playoffs because of that pitching and that unorthodox way that they handled their pitching. It wasn't because their lineup was great by any means. It was actually something that held them back. So it's a bad lineup. You're facing arguably the best pitcher on the slate. I don't think there's a lot of blow-up potential here for Detroit or for Yamamoto to get blown up. So Detroit is a tier 5 for me. I don't need to go there. But the Dodgers, I think probably 90% of the time we do this year, we're going to have the Dodgers in tier 1 or tier 2 just because of the lineup. Today, I'm not going to do – I'll go tier 3 because Flaherty, they're still good, and he can still get in trouble with things, although he's been better lately about his walks, so he's not doing that as much. I'll go tier 3. Just the strength of the lineup could – what if they do run him out of here early and that kind of a thing, a what if, but typically this is much lower than what we'll have the Dodgers this year. So tier 3 is for me.
All right. We'll give the summary in just a second as far as how our board looks. Chop, I'm going to ask you, Steve, I'm going to need to see that board so I can cheat. I did not have it memorized. Thank you. But Chop, I need homers. I need who's going yard, and no pressure, but Joe in chat says, 4 home runs for FanDuel parlay. I'll sub for life, Dean. So I'll give up my favorite as well, but sit on it. I'll give you a minute to think about it, Chop, as I give the rundown. Okay. Tell me who's going yard. Feel free to give one up top, one down low, one in the middle, however you want to do it. Tell me who's banging one out. Top tier tonight, the 300 tier. It's Toronto, Boston, Houston, San Diego. Gods of Egypt, the second tier. Pittsburgh, Texas, Arizona, Chicago. Bounty Hunter right in the middle. We got the Dodgers, the Athletics, Mets, Baltimore. As far as the next tier, Rock and Rolla. The Marlins jump all the way up to the second to last tier. The Braves and Seattle, and all the way at the bottom, hanging out with nobody but themselves. How to Train Your Dragon. It is Detroit. Chop, did I give you enough time? Do we have 3 dudes going yard?
Well, I think you're missing something, Dean. You're missing.
What am I missing?
You're missing I know it's fresh season, and we got to, reintegrate ourselves like Severance. We got to reintegrate ourselves, but I don't know if you know this. I don't like any right now. DJ gives out Spidey bombs. People give out
the knockers, the knockers. Yeah.
Yes. I give
and BBP suggestions.
Okay. Yeah, that's what we do here. So I will say this: my BVP suggestion is actually my knockers, one of my knockers also. So I kind of cheated right there, but not much to go on tonight. So I'm going that route. Yeah, I'm chasing the home runs here from my knockers, like legit chasing home runs, power, all or nothing, attacking with power, man. Choppers knockers today. Jock Peterson, Adolis Garcia with a little hint of BVP that I like. Ooh. I'm attacking Tanner Houck. I think he might have had a rough spring, and I don't think it's a a one-off thing.
I'm going to throw in Lawrence Butler, taking one off of Luis Castillo. By the way, let's get the rundown as far as today's Film Friday. Several people are talking about it there in chat. It was officially guessed. Shout out to T. Carter. Clue number 1 was Mound. Mound was in reference to one of the actors in this movie. Mound is like a hill. Jonah Hill co-stars in this movie. Bear. People talk about bears as far as Wall Street. We got bears. We got bulls.
Oh.
Stay.
Oh.
What?
You meant a bear in Bear Bull, Wall Street.
That's what I was doing, yeah.
Oh, I totally missed that one. I was thinking John Bernthal, the bear.
Oh, no, I wasn't doing that, but it was a double meaning. I didn't realize I was doing that.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
It was bear and bull, bulls and bears, in reference to the Wall Street. Stay. I'm not leaving. I almost went with the McConaughey counting. I started doing that, and I went over that one as well. But Quaalude was the one that people got excited about. We had 3 or 4 people. There's a scene with I'm sure you've seen it before. I imagine you have. Good movie. There you go. Wolf of Wall Street was today's Film Friday. Chop. We're going to go ahead and bring in Crunch Time. It's TJ. It's Kirkwood. It's Kevin Roth. Let's do it. Crunch Time right now. I know TJ was upset. TJ's waving. You were mad about the Chop's board.
Me too. I was.
Oh, go ahead, Kevin.
What the hell kind of board was this? What was the rating system on this board?
What do you think the category was? I guess do you know what the category was?
I'm hoping it was like based on actual violence or something. Because any list with How to Train Your Dragon at the bottom is wrong. That movie's awesome.
Oof. Well, you've probably seen it 100 times with your kids. Or how many times have you seen it?
Yeah.
So, Chop. This is Chop's rankings for the record. Gerard Butler movies.
Oh, okay.
And no law-abiding citizen. That was my issue.
No. We talked about law-abiding citizen. You can only put one movie in every category. I listed it as a movie I would have put up there near the top, except for I can only do one in every. If you want to break the rules moving forward, Dean, I'll put 2 movies in every category, man. I don't care, dude.
I just like when people yell at somebody else. So.
Okay, fair enough.
I just like to deflect. I understand the constraints as well.
But this was in honor of Den of Thieves 2, which is on Netflix, and I'm watching it tonight. So we did Gerard Butler movies.
It was such an honor you to put Den of Thieves on the board.
Again, it would have been sacrilegious for me not to put 300 up there. That's one of my favorite movies of all time.
All right, fair enough. And TJ, you got anything on? You're fine now. You're composed. You're good.
Yeah, I said it in chat. You were just making that up. That wasn't a real thing at all.
Yeah, I might not have even seen it. I don't know.
Yeah, TJ said he wasn't mad from the beginning.
Oh, I misread something then. My apologies.
He said it was like one of the most popular movies.
It's a very, very beloved movie. One of the most popular movies of all time. Getting a live action remake as we speak is in the middle of filming. But I have no particular affinity to it.
Fair enough. I assume Kirkwood's going to come back here momentarily. You guys got basketball. You guys got baseball. Roth, I think weather we're good, right? Only 2 games are even outside, and one's in San Diego. We're fine. Yes.
Yeah, I think with San Diego and LA outside, and then the Tampa game, which is already playing, so we're good.
Yeah. All right. Let's do it. Let's step aside and get out of here and make way for crunch time. Myself and Chop do appreciate you watching the first portion. You got NBA locks at 7, MLB locks at 7:07 for the record. But there you go. Myself and Chop, we appreciate watching. Hit that like button. Don't go anywhere because Roth's got you for the next 40 plus minutes. Take it away, Roth.
Good stuff. Dean, as always, welcome to it. Ladies and gents, you know the drill. It's crunch time, but you might not be used to dual sport crunch time, which we only get for, a few weeks or so before we kick it on over to just baseball. And TJ, Kirk, tell me if this makes sense. We start with NBA because lock is first. We pivot to baseball in case it goes long. We haven't hit lock. TJ, yeah?
Other way around, because baseball, very little is going to change between now and lock, whereas NBA could have breaking news that could totally change everything that we talked about. So we go MLB first, NBA first, leave the MLB questions until after NBA lock.
Yeah.
Hit all the MLB questions and then MLB lock.
This is the answer. This is the correct answer. I'm glad.
I've been sitting early in the room. I've been in the room already for like 25 minutes. So I got a chance to think it through.
Yeah, you thought it out. All right. I love that. Chili says, hey, nobody cares about the NBA. You're wrong. I am only playing one sport tonight, and it's NBA. But plenty of people are playing both sports. And if you are one of those people, yeah, boo. I don't know. Was that booing me or booing you? I think it was booing you. MLB DFS annual $425. That's $425 for the whole year. But we've dropped the price of our Combo Pro product to mirror the MLB annual package. So you get more stuff for the same price. So you can play all the sports, full access to our tools, our content, our projections for every sport except NASCAR, cheaper price than the monthly package. You save 35% if you do the 6-month instead of going month by month. That is a good deal. So sign up now for MLB projections, NBA content, PGA data, all the sports, everything happened. If anyone is still playing NBA DFS, I've got a hotline for you. It's fun. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. I like NBA. All right. It's my happy place. We got two of the sharpest minds in the biz. TJ in the house. What up, TJ?
Not too much. Doing pretty well. I am playing NBA DFS tonight. I admit I would not be if I wasn't already on the show. But being on the show, covering some NBA, I did decide to throw in 100 lineups tonight. So I'm playing 20 in MLB and 100 in NBA.
Very good. All right. Sounds to me like you were more in the NBA streets.
Dollar amount is higher for MLB, though.
All right.
Pretty close to even, though. It's a pretty close to a 50-50 split.
Okay. We got Kirkdiese in the house. Kirkwood, you okay, bud? You just sitting there. You all right? You doing good?
I'm struggling. I'm not going to lie. So not only with all the multi-content, and the kid driving around, but I have like a sciatica issue, which I've never had in my life. And it like cripples me for like 15 minutes here and there during the day. So it's like, I don't know. I'm probably will never go see a doctor about it and just let it heal, put some duct tape on it and let's go. But
that'll definitely help. Yeah. That's it. That's what you need to do. All right. Well, feel better. We will try to take it easy on you. Although we got multiple questions.
And I'm not playing NBA. And I think you're a lunatic if you are, because they have zapped the love out of it for me lately. With all the news and everything, but I am playing MLB, and that's my passion. So I stand with all the people who voted MLB.
There's a lot of that. Let's see. Bryce says NBA sucks right now. Mr. Shadow says you got MLB DFS and the NBA G League all at the same time.
But tonight we got Final Four game. Like we got Elite Eight games or to get to the Elite Eight.
That's true. So yeah, there's a lot happening. And then, of course, you got Negative Creep who says, Tiny Hands Nation, stand up, represent. Are we doing Tiny Hands play of the day in MLB or no?
Man, I was thinking I got jealous when Chop said the knockers, because like I spent years perfecting that bit with Chop, like the knockers and the reach around stacks.
It's so good.
They split us up,
it's not the same with me, I can't.
He delivers it so well, it's the delivery.
It's tough to top that. All right. Well, let's dive on into it. TJ, you figured this all out. You said that we're going to start with baseball. So let's start with baseball. We like, when talking baseball, to start with pitchers, because that's where I begin, at least. TJ, walk me through what we're doing here pitcher-wise. What's our pitcher pool?
So I'm trying to keep a fairly tight pitching pool today. And so there are some guys that I'm not playing that you absolutely can play. I just didn't like the 150 max contest as much today, so I just did the 20 entry max. And so I'm trying to limit my pool even more than I usually do. So if there's somebody you like, if I'm not playing them, it doesn't necessarily mean you cannot play them at all. But on DraftKings, if you're playing cash, it's a pretty clear two that you're playing. It's Yamamoto and Luis Castillo, easy 1 and 2. They're cheap enough that you don't really have to go to a super cheap SP2 tonight. You can just play the top two options. On FanDuel, though, Castillo is far more expensive than Yamamoto, and so Yamamoto is the clear cash game guy tonight. Just because I got to draw lines somewhere, I am not going to play any Dylan Cease in tournaments. I am still playing Yamamoto and Castillo, even though they're going to pick up ownership. But Cease going up against a good Atlanta lineup, still picking up some ownership, not going to do it. Same with Hunter Brown, picking up some ownership, going against a good Mets lineup. There is some strikeouts there, But even still, I got to find somewhere to draw some lines. So I'm not playing any Hunter Brown or Dylan Cease. Typically, that is what I'll do throughout an MLB season is I'll look at the 4 or 5 highest owned pitchers, pick the 2 that I like the best, get well overweight on them, and then just X out the other ones. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I move on to the next day. But that's the best way for me to really get the most amount of exposures to the guys I like. Other ones in my pool, Dean really talked this up in the previous show, and especially on FanDuel where he's so cheap. Jack Flaherty is very interesting going up against the Dodgers. That is an absolutely terrifying task going up against the Dodgers, but he was probably, based on last year's data, the best pitcher of this whole group. He's not priced like it because of the very difficult matchup. So Flaherty, I think, is very in play in large field tournaments just because nobody's really going to be playing him. And that's the same with Kevin Gausman. Tough matchup against Baltimore. He did not look like himself last year. Based on everything I've read from Blue Jays camp and from spring training stuff, he looks back to the ace that he was 2 years ago. That could just be hyperbole within the organization, but his fastball is up. He's throwing in his slider more than he ever has, and apparently it looks better than it ever has. So I am and he looked really, really good in spring training.
Okay,
so
good stuff. I'm sorry.
Gausman is in my pool as well for large field tournaments. And then if you need to go cheap, which I don't think you need to do on FanDuel, but on DraftKings, the 3 cheapies I'm rolling with today, sub 8K, are Mitch Keller, Jeffrey Springs, and Tyler Megill. Don't really feel great about any of them. Springs would probably be my favorite of the 3, though.
Okay, we are seeing some chatter in the chat about Springs specifically, so I'm glad you brought that up. You have no issue with other people playing Cease or Hunter Brown, to be clear, correct? They're perfectly viable options?
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure because there are people saying like Hunter Brown's one of the best pitchers on the slate, and you think that that could certainly happen, but you need to take a stand when you've got 100%. A bunch of lineups, and
100%.
That's the stand you're taking. Okay,
yeah.
That makes sense. Clark says, hey, no more NBA? We will. We're going to run through baseball, then we're going to talk NBA. Then we're going to open up to questions of all sorts. So we've got multiple sports. Kirky, what are you doing here as you look at these pitchers? Seems like there's a fair amount of options. Who are you favoriting? Who are you narrowing in on?
So what do I do? Start at DraftKings?
No, I don't care.
Okay.
I don't know. Well, talk about it all. Just talk about pitcher, both sides.
All right. Well, Yamamoto is probably my favorite, but he's going to be the most chalkiest. First of all, you always have to worry a little bit about pitch count with him because of the Dodgers, but like as of right now, you don't really have to worry about that because if they pull him a little bit earlier and they chop him down, no one else is pitching over 100 pitches or anything like that. So he should be extremely efficient. It's a Tigers offense that I think is just mediocre, and his stuff is nasty, legit, and he's healthy. So let's fire him up. Everyone is going to be playing Castillo. I'm opposite on TJ. I'm out on Castillo tonight. I think Oakland is an underrated offense this season. And Castillo has had like alarming velocity dip in spring training. So I'm going to wait and see with him. And if he's going to be especially chalky, I'm going to hope that he blows up tonight. So I like Dylan Cease, even though it's a tough matchup with the Braves. It's not that tough without Acuna, without Sean Miller, the catcher. Yes, there's like the top of that lineup is pretty imposing with like Riley and Matt Olson, but Dylan Cease is an ace. He's looked good in spring training, and he's also pitching for his value. Like there's been so much trade talks with that guy, but anyway, I think he's going to throw a gem tonight, or that's what I'm hoping on. Mm-hmm. Hunter Brown, I would consider. Jeffrey Springs is my favorite lower price one for like an SB2 on against Seattle, who's an anemic offense. Yeah, they came. Randy Arozarena hit a bomb like a little bit late in the game, but they just constantly underperform. So I like Jeffrey Springs. I think he's got some talent. I think he's got a good repertoire. And then the last, only for because of the cost, Mitch Keller is facing the putrid Miami offense, and Keller's got some good stuff. He was awesome for like the beginning of the season last year, and then just fell off. But I think 7,900 on DraftKings is great.
Okay, good stuff. Let's switch it. Talk about the bats. Talk about the stacks specifically. Kirkwood, what are we doing here stack-wise? Who are your faves?
Well, who are the fades? Who are the?
I think I said faves for like the second
Okay,
time. I don't know
faves,
why I'm
okay.
using that
Well, we
term.
can do
Who are your
faves, and
What am I, a teenage girl?
have-
Who are your faves? I
Well,
don't
we
know.
can. Yeah, that's true. We
know
could
where
also
that's
have the fade of the night, the Supercuts fade of the night going. But anyway, my favorite surprise is the Red Sox. Totally anemic yesterday, except for one hitter. But their lineup is pretty good this season. I'm expecting a much better season than I thought I was going to be coming in. And Leiter, he's probably he's definitely hittable, and he's probably underrated and going to be something somewhat good, but I don't think he's there yet now. So I think the Red Sox explode in this game. Other than that, my second favorite is Pitt against the Marlins with 1 second. Gillespie, right? That's who's got to be the worst pitcher on the slate here. And I like the thing I like about the Pirates is that they're great to mini stack, because like who the guys are going to get production for the most part typically, and you can just like leave all the rest of the crap out and then like use one for a differentiator. So they're my second favorite. Arizona is a favorite stack, for some speed and power. I like Pavin Smith hitting in the 5-hole for a home run. I like Ketel Marte, but like a lot of that. And then there's the other ones to think about. I mean, the Dodgers are in play. The Baltimore went off yesterday, and the Cubs could be good.
Okay, good stuff. TJ, your favorites stack-wise? You're muted, homie. Mute count.
I sneezed and I forgot to bring it back on. Arizona is going to be my favorite on the slate. Absolutely love getting to the Diamondbacks tonight. Pittsburgh, Boston, and the Cubs are my next tier. All three of those teams I like quite a bit, but it's Arizona in tier 1 for me. Pittsburgh, Boston, Chicago Cubs, tier 2. Even though I talked about liking Jack Flaherty for tournaments, I'm still going to be getting to some Dodgers as well. They are my 5th highest owned stack today. And then Padres I like, Orioles I'm getting to a little bit of, and then Toronto and Miami as well I have.
Okay, let's go position by position here. We want to speed it up because we still got to talk NBA. So everybody gets one position, and we'll just alternate. TJ, talk through me about the catcher spot, please.
Well, I get the most boring one. Joey Bart and Alejandro Kirk are going to be my 2 favorite options today. I like them equally, basically a toss-up. Bart batting 4th, Kirk batting 5th. 2 good offenses, 2 good spots. If you are spending up, the best guy to do it with is Adley Rutschman. If you need to full out punt, you're looking at Mitch Garver or maybe a Carson Kelly.
Okay. Kirk, that brings you to first base. And again, if there are any big differentiators between FanDuel and DK, please be sure to point that out. What are we doing at first?
First, we're playing I like Vlad Guerrero. More easier to get on FanDuel than DraftKings, but I'm playing both. Everybody and their mother bet him to home run yesterday and played him yesterday, and he's going to do it today instead. Is how that works.
Yep.
Tristan Casas with the Red Sox here. I'm expecting him while he's healthy to start hitting, and so I like him for a home run. Obviously, Shohei. You can get to him, and then Josh Naylor is someone I'm interested in. And you can dumpster dive at this position if you really needed to. And the game you would go to for that would be the Pittsburgh. Sorry, my kid's going off. But on the Marlins side, there's this guy who unfortunately I have in my lineup right now, but. Wait, hold on. He's a former Cub. He never did anything. Pavin Smith is cheap. I have him in my eye, but the really cheap guy at first is Melder or something, TJ? Matt Melder, I think it is.
Sorry, I was looking at making a stack that I didn't have.
Hold on. I just have my computer all over the place.
You're fine. We've got all day. We don't.
We don't.
There's a Mervis. That's
cheap. Matt Mervis. That's what I was thinking.
There we go.
He stinks, but he was a top prospect with power. He's batting cleanup. He's getting his chance. Mitch Keller will give up power to left-handed batters, so you can do that. You can go to Stowers on the other side too.
Okay, good stuff.
Cheap.
TJ, your thoughts at third base now, and if you have something really important you want to add at second, feel free.
That was first base, so I will do second really quick. And Ketel Marte is my favorite guy at the position by far. He's my highest owned play on the slate. I have about 50% Ketel Marte because the position just sucks. And so after him, Jimenez, Edman, Westberg, Cronenworth, but Marte is my guy here by far.
Okay, good job at second base. Thank you. Kirk, back to you for third.
All right. Third base, Rafael Devers is the best play. He's number one for me. Bregman, I like playing them both. I think Isaac Paredes for Houston could hit a bomb, and then those are my favorites.
Okay, that brings us to shortstop. TJ, what are we doing there?
Shortstop position, Trevor is pretty spread out for me, but a lot of people look based on projected ownership are looking for like they're going to be spending up for Mookie Betts, which I think is fine, but worth keeping in mind that this dude has been super sick and he's lost like 20 pounds, and so he may not be like himself yet. And so Bo Bichette or Xavier Edwards are probably the next two options. Edwards I love because he's super fast, probably could steal a couple bases as long as he gets on tonight. And so Bichette, the clear option on FanDuel where he's super cheap. On DK, I think I might actually prefer Edwards a little bit, but both are great. And I think I prefer both of them to Betts. Trevor Story in that same group with Bichette and Edwards. Corey Seager, you can always play. And outside of that, it's just stacks.
Okay. I'm going to let you both do outfield, but Kirk, you get to lead us off. Who are your favorites in the outfield?
Duran night, baby. Duran, I told you I like the Red Sox are my favorite stack. He's got he broke out last season. He's got speed and power upside. He's the Bats' seventh highest probability to steal a base tonight. He also has home run upside. So like him. I like O'Neal Cruz is going to be chalkity chalk at shortstop or outfield, depending on site. But I think he's really good chalk. I think they're going to crush the Marlins tonight. Brian Reynolds, I wrote up for Pitt. Like, so that's the thing. Like the mini stack, I would do like O'Neal Cruz, like Brian Reynolds, maybe Joey Bart, or you can play the cheap guy Andy Rodriguez, who's mid price on DraftKings for 2K. But for the Pirate stacks, but I like all those guys. Home runs are Yordan Alvarez, Kyle Tucker, potentially, and obviously Shohei. And I feel like Soto, after striking out with the game on the line yesterday, has to like hit a bomb today.
Okay, I think that's fair. TJ, your thoughts in the outfield?
Corbin Carroll, my top guy, getting to about 35% of him. O'Neal Cruz, number 2. Jarren Duran, number 3. So a lot of the same names. Love Kyle Tucker. He's one of my favorites on the slate, as is Fernando Tatis. Wilyer Abreu in the mid-tier. Shohei if you're spending all the way up. And then I like Jackson Merrill, Ian Happ, Colton Cowser, Cedric Mullins, Anthony Santander, some mid-range guys that I don't think a lot of people are going to be getting to today.
Okay. We want some home run picks as well. We're going to need the likes, though, to get those because that includes some Spidey bombs, and that's your department, TJ. Where are our likes at, and can we give the people some Spidey bombs?
Drop the first 2 already. I think in the chats already. I think it's the second one's not scrolling on the bottom of the screen yet. We'll get the third one at 150 likes, only 18 likes away. But the first one, Ketel Marte, plus 400. Second one, Tristan Cassis, plus 450. Third one coming at 150 likes, which should be any second. I trust everybody to be smashing that like button. So let's do it right now. Kyle Tucker, plus 450 as well.
Okay. Mikasa Sukasas and a little King Tuck in the house as well. Kirk, you gave your home run picks, right?
I mean, basically everyone I liked is someone I think is going to home run.
Yeah, I mean that is the name of the game.
Isn't that how you just build it? You just hit a home run at every spot in the lineup. That's all you got to do.
So yeah, it's easy. Although honestly, sometimes I occasionally play baseball, and all my dudes I feel like go off, and I still lose. I don't understand the sport. I have never once made money playing baseball, but I've only done it like 5 times. It's probably not enough for the sample size. Okay, we got to kick it to NBA. We have 19 minutes until NBA lock, and we need to run through things. Who wants to give me a rundown? Who feels prepped and ready for NBA? TJ?
Got it. Nice and easy. It's a very, very straightforward slate tonight. We got only thing I think we're really waiting on in terms of news is, I guess, Giannis Antetokounmpo, which is a big one, and Jamal Murray. Both of those probably won't be coming before lock, with the Giannis news coming at the game's at 8 o'clock, and then Jamal Murray game is at 9 o'clock. But I'm going to be loading up on that Denver side of things, expecting Murray not to play because they're 19-point favorites against Utah. Why would he? Whereas Milwaukee, I feel like Giannis is a little more likely because it's New York. Both of these teams want to win. It's a 1-point spread. Outside of that, we're not waiting on a lot of news, but we're looking at, even with Denver having that Q tag, they're still one of the top teams to target on the slate, as are the Knicks, as are the Pelicans, as probably the top 3 teams that we're going to be wanting to get to the most.
Okay. Good rundown. Let's go position by position. Kirk, you feel ready to do this here? FanDuel point guard, what do you like?
All right, FanDuel point guard. Yes, I am ready. Well, you got some chalk for sure with Dennis Schroeder at 5,400 with Cade out. Strong play at that number. You could definitely, make a case to come in under, but you definitely, if you're playing a lot of lines, you definitely want to have a bunch of him. KJ Simpson is for the Charlotte, the guy, point guard with Ball now being out for the rest of the season. 4,400. He's nothing flashy either. I mean, you don't have to play him either. You could make a case to come in under, but these guys are going to be pretty chalky. So, and there is a good reason for it. Alvarado, man, all these guys are like someone I think are completely fadeable, but this is what happens this time of year. But 5,200. Emmanuel Quickly. I like that game. Toronto, Charlotte. Like, Toronto's so crazy. It's tough to know what you're going to get with lineups and minutes and stuff, but I think Quickly will get enough to be good. The one fade, the Supercuts fade of the night, is the cheap Tyler Kolek for the Knicks. If they put him, great, you put him out there, like maybe he gets some assists, but like he's just small and like he's not gonna. He's out there with all high usage guys who are just gonna push the ball, and I don't expect him to do very well in this spot.
Okay.
Yeah, so there you go.
That is fair. TJ, anything you want to add at point? If not, you can move us right to shooting guard.
I will move us right to shooting guard. It's like the guard position is so wildly stacked up today. If it's another one where it's like, hey, if somebody has a shooting guard eligibility, probably play them there instead of point guard because of how many strong point guards there are. Schroeder at 50% is like a guy you're obviously playing in cash. I think it's a great fade for tournaments, and just to go without him today and play Marcus Sasser instead, his backup. Jordan Hawkins at 4,300 is probably my favorite value on FanDuel because he's cheaper there than he is on DraftKings. Jacoby Walter is perfectly fine. Anthony Edwards is a low-owned spend-up. Looks really good at the shooting guard position. Outside of that, like, it's nowhere near as strong as point guard. I do really like Devin Booker for large field tournaments. And then going back to the point guard position, one thing I would just really want to mention is Russell Westbrook, 6,900. I am playing as if Jamal Murray is not going to play. Mm-hmm. And so that, to me, is the best tournament play on the slate at 6,900 at point guard.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, Kirk, that brings us to small forward. What are you doing there? FanDuel small forward.
I love Anthony Edwards. He's smashed against Phoenix. Phoenix's defense is just so bad now. And it should be both of these teams really need these games. So I think you're going to see a motivated Edwards, Durant, and Booker in this game. And all of them are worth playing. But Anthony Edwards, by far, my favorite. Other than that, I would go to people are going to play Miles Bridges. And I guess the guy has not shot well at all. He's been terrible. He can't shoot. If you think he's going to break out of his shooting slump, the usage is there. Everything is, the minutes are there. The matchup is there. But he's like in a massive slump, and he's going to be 40% plus ownership. So I would probably try to beat him tonight. And I'd probably try to do it with like Josh Hart, who is walking triple-double these days. Mikal Bridges, with this Knicks situation without they don't have their guards, any of their guards, really. That's why I said to fade the starting point guard. But Tobias Harris was kind of a, everyone's talking about these other plays, and he's not a sexy play for, with
he just got ruled out.
He just got ruled out. I was going to say if he's in, then he's the play, but all right. I guess not. But Oscar Thompson, certainly like, and
Roth's guy.
Yeah. I mean, they're the same. Like, give him the same situation in Houston, he's probably doing the same thing as Amen, right?
I don't know if that's true or not, but that's kind of how I feel mentally, where I see what Amen does, and I'm like, it's his twin. Like he'll do the same things. Give him the ball, let him do the things. So I'm fully on board with both the Thompson twins. Love that. Okay, anything else you want to add or no?
Booker, Jaden McDaniels. I'm focused on that Minnesota Phoenix game.
Yeah. Okay. TJ, your thoughts? That brings us to power forward.
Yeah, so I'm going to be, even if he plays, largely going without Giannis Antetokounmpo tonight because I really want to be spending up at the center position for Nikola Jokic. Because of that, I'm mostly looking at the mid-tier guys. Evan Mobley, Miles Bridges, OG Anunoby, really strong plays today. Michael Porter and Aaron Gordon, specifically if Jamal Murray is out, are going to look extra good in this spot. For cash, I totally feel like there's no problem playing Giannis, but I still kind of like going to the mid-range guys of a Kelly Olynyk, Miles Bridges, potentially even Aaron Gordon or OG Anunoby instead. And then if you need to save salary, looking at Watford, looking at Hunter. And I don't know if enough people are really going to adapt to that. That's more of a DraftKings thing. Never mind. I'll save it for there.
Okay. Let's go to center. Kirkwood, what are we doing with the big man?
Oh, it's Joker for sure. I think last time he was in this matchup, he dropped like 88 fantasy points. It's just, even if I didn't even check. Sorry. Is Kessler, do we have words on Kessler?
I don't believe so.
It's still questionable. I don't think he plays, but even if he plays, Joker will kill him. It doesn't matter who plays, is what I'm saying, basically. And yes, blowout, 18.5 point spread, scary, but like he'll rack it up in 3/4 of play. And also, they just lost to the Wizards. So like things happen. It's a crazy time of year here at the end of the season. So Joker is my number one for sure. Other than that, Mark Williams looks pretty good. Jalen Duren looks pretty good. Zubac and Filipowski for Utah on the other side, especially if Kessler is out.
Okay, very good. That kicks it over to DraftKings, and I don't know if there's any significant differences, but why don't you start us at point guard on DK? We still have 10 minutes until we hit NBA lock, and we've got even longer before baseball lock. So we're doing okay time-wise, Kirkwood.
Thanks. It's good to hear.
Yep.
So, sorry, I'm starting us off on DraftKings?
Yeah, please, point guard.
All right, okay. Point guard. A lot of the same names. Schroeder is going to be massive chalk, 5,100. Simpson's going to be chalky for Charlotte again, 4K. Alvarado. I like TJ's call with Sasser instead of Schroeder. Sasser can score, man. Plus, it's Houston's playing in the Sweet 16 tonight. Sasser, University of Houston guard. I think the stars are aligning. I think TJ's on the right path here. Other than that, I think fade Kolek. Jordan Hawkins, I think he's going to be out there no matter what. And guy can put up a lot of points. And then Quickly and Devin Booker.
Okay. TJ, you get to add anything at point if you want, but mostly take us to shooting guard.
Yeah, this last thing in point guard, similar to shooting guard, similar to FanDuel. If they have shooting guard eligibility, I'm only playing them at shooting guard because of the amount of good point guards there are today. And then to keep in mind, Jamal Murray is questionable. Russell Westbrook has absolutely massive upside if Jamal Murray gets ruled out. Shooting guard, Sasser is going to be my highest owned guy here. I am going severely underweight on Schroeder today and overweight on Sasser. Jordan Hawkins is my next highest owned guy. Then I'm taking some shots on some punts. DeLon Wright, everybody's going to Kolek, like Kirkdiese was just talking about. I think there's a chance that Wright, if he plays well, could just end up playing more minutes than him today. And so I'm getting some Jelon Wright at shooting guard, Sam Merrill without Ty Jerome and Max Strus today. And then Devin Booker and Anthony Edwards, 2 contrarian spend-ups that I really like.
Very good. Kirkwood, your thought at small forward?
Small forward. I think you can play Beasley, and with Kate out, someone's got to score. He could bust for sure, but there's definitely upside. Oscar Thompson, we already talked about that. Like him. OG Anunoby is cheap on DraftKings. So, good spot. Like any of the, Hart, Anunoby, and Bridges all have really high upside. They're going to play a ton of minutes from Tibbs, and they don't have a real point guard now. And they'll be doing some of the facilitating as well and attacking. So I think you're going to see them run up in this game. So love those guys. And maybe some Jaden McDaniels. God, Kyle Kuzma, is he ever gonna hit?
No.
He's so bad. Remember people were talking about him with the Anthony Davis trade? Like there was like they were talking about for Tatum, throwing Kuzma was somehow good enough
on that level. You should not even be
in
in
the
this
same conversation.
Yeah, 25 years old as a rookie.
Yeah. Okay,
Hilarious.
good stuff. I feel like I did this wrong because now each of you are doing the same positions again, and next time I will switch that up. But TJ, your thoughts at power forward?
It's okay. I can just lead us in a center too right after this. Matkovic and Olynyk are my 2 highest owned power forwards today. I'm going salary savings with the New Orleans players. After that, it's some Knicks, OG Anunoby and Josh Hart, who I absolutely love for tournaments. Aaron Gordon, MPJ, 2 guys I'm going to try and get to a lot pending that Jamal Murray is out. And then some spend ups like Miles Bridges, Kawhi Leonard, Kevin Durant, Evan Mobley, lower owned than the value plays for me.
Yeah. Okay. That brings us back to the center spot. So Kirkwood, what do you like?
I only have 4 guys in my pool, so that's why I'll just get that in quick. I have 67% Jokic, 42% Towns, 25% Zubac, 5% Mobley, and Mobley's mostly played at power forward. So I'm just loading up on the studs at center today.
Spending up. Kirkwood, what are you doing there?
I think that's wise. And if you want a mid-range option, Jalen Duren, Zubac would be those guys. And then if you want a cheapie, Missy for 4,500 against Golden State, not the best matchup at all, but should be out there a ton, and is a pretty good fantasy point per minute producer.
Okay, good stuff, guys. We've done the things that we came here to do. We have 5 minutes roughly until NBA lock, a little longer for baseball. So get your questions in. If you do it on the Discord, you will get your questions answered first, but you can drop questions in the YouTube as well. Make sure you hit that thumbs up. We've got multiple sports, multiple hosts, a lot going on. And of course, the greatest meteorologist in daily fantasy sports history. There's only been 3 that I know of. One just copy and pasted my forecasts. One is completely psychotic, and then me. So it's not a whole lot.
I think I know who you're talking about, because I know one had to step down from the industry, and I was wondered why. So he must have copied your content. I assume now.
No, there was a chick who did it 10 years ago. And literally whatever I would type, she would just copy and paste in hers. I was like, I'm going to start doing fake things just to catch you. This is outrageous.
Get the rat. Get the rat.
Anyways, so anyway, hit the thumbs up. That was the whole point of that random tangent. Let's answer some QQs. Let's see what we've got starting in the Discord. That's true. What about Kirkwood? Do you count as a meteorologist since you have?
No, when you're in beta, I haven't launched it yet. There's a lot of red tape behind the thing. There's been a lot of lawsuits. Model. There's been lawyers involved. A lot of things that people don't understand what's going on. Like Dean Shavelson, and then the thing about Dean is he could hit me up privately, but he has to try to make this out in public. He knows what I'm going through over here. It's I don't like it.
No,
red tape, and Dean.
I mean, TJ's seen it. TJ backs it. It's mind blowing. Some of the
beautiful
stuff
product, but Dean's got to throw it under the bus anytime he can.
The old dew point model. Okay, let's get to some QQs, guys. We'll start with Fit Crooks. I'm trying to find NBA ones, but quite frankly, because there's so many like weird random ass players, I'm struggling to know these names. Fit Crooks. Who are we definitely locking in from the first game, TJ, and DK Cash in order to leave room for news?
For Cash, I guess you are playing Schroeder. And then probably SR Thompson now too.
Okay. DK GPP Kirkwood, Matkovich, or Walter?
Walter.
FanDuel Cash, Kirkwood, back to you. DeAndre Hunter or Beasley? Straight up.
Beasley.
Okay. We'll mix in a little baseball from D Gold 280. Bichette or Edman, TJ, as a one-off. Note, I am not stacking either. So these are true one-offs in Bichette or Edman.
Bichette.
Okay.
Yeah, I always go that Bichette too.
Scrolling up, checking the old YouTube. We'll go to Black's question. He says, would you play Texas against Houck? If so, who? TJ, who?
Yeah, absolutely. You can play Texas against Houck. Seager is your priority. And then I was looking at that lineup, and I actually think I'd rather save some salary, stack the back half, and so look at guys like Tavares and Heim.
Okay.
Houck's gonna shove on that lineup tonight.
What does that mean? He's going to do what?
Shove. That's the lingo for like pitch a gem.
Bad.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Shoving is
We were
good.
talking on the previous show about how he has looked terrible in spring training.
Yeah, but the Boston Homer is telling you he's going to shove. On the
Okay,
on the
he's going to
Rangers.
shove, which I've learned is good. For a while, I thought that being a gas can as a pitcher was a good thing.
Yeah, because it gets you out of a jam.
He's got a lot of gas, you know. He's
Gets
throwing
you out of a
heat.
jam when you're broken down and you wish you had a gas can.
Yeah, it turns out it's not good to, I learn things. I don't watch a lot of baseball. I learn. Let's see what else we've got. A basketball question from Mr. Shane. Kirkwood, play Booker and Ant in the same game.
Yes,
on
sir.
FanDuel?
Yes, sir. Yep.
Mhm,
That's my preferred combo. And then just shove your value from all the other games.
Yeah. Hoosier Sang Banner says, I'm about to slide a half rack of baby back ribs in the oven. I approve, except half rack? Go full rack, man. Go full rack.
Shout out to Don Yeezy, who's already 2 edibles in, he said, or 2 gummies in, he said already. So
it's going to be a good night. Yeah. 2 is aggressive, but yeah, it's going to be a good night for you. Who's getting chunnel caked is the question. Which pitcher, TJ, is getting chunnel caked tonight?
I will say Jack Leiter is getting chunnel caked.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, there you go. Leiter's getting caked.
No one will get chunnel cake tonight quite like Jameson Tyon will.
I think so too. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Brandon, and this is a great question. Speaking of weather, any chance that the A's and Rays get any data in Weather Edge for their new stadiums, or is it not worth the effort since the sample size will be so small? So the answer is the latter part of that. I do not plan on having data for them this season. The Rays will likely not be playing where they're playing next season, so don't expect that. But as the A's are going to be there for, I think, 3 years, I do plan to have A's data for this season for next season, if that makes sense.
I got to give the Kirk Diggler dong of the night. It's actually
the Kirk Diggler dong of the night.
I'm going to give to Butthole. I'm going to give two of them for the balls. So these plays are the balls. It's Pavin Smith for a home run, and then Brian Reynolds for a home run.
Okay, that's great. That was more than I needed to think about there. But all right, let's see. We get one more Spidey Bomb, by the way. 200 likes, and we're working on it here. Chris says, how about that little jacked up small person for the Blue Jays hitting a home run tonight, Kirk? I don't know who that is.
It's Alejandro Kirk. It wasn't asking Kirkdiese. It was talking about Kirk.
Oh,
So you know what it is, and everyone likes to say this. I'm in a secret chat with like Chop and a few other people, and they always refer to him as FF Kirk. Fat F Kirk.
Yeah.
And so they love to like assume like it catches me a lot too. So
yeah. I gotta Google. This is Alejandro Kirk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he looks like an elf.
Oh, yeah, no, he does actually.
Yeah, he's also got like the Alec Manoah. Manoah, he's a catcher, so he used to catch for Manoah. So they had the highest body mass weight index for the pair in all of baseball.
Yeah, Hoosier saying Banners describes him as a bowling ball, and that he's got that build. That is not the build I was anticipating when I Googled that name. But hey, in baseball, that works. Nothing wrong with it. FanDuel single entry question, TJ. This one's for you. P.S. If we run out of questions, we're ending the show before lock. So keep them coming. They can be football. They probably shouldn't be football. They can be baseball. They can be basketball. They can be about dinner. We can open it up later if we need to. FanDuel single entry, TJ. Castillo or Yamamoto? I'm worried about Yamamoto's pitch count. Allow me, TJ. May I?
Yeah.
We're not too concerned about the pitch count because this early in the season, everybody's on a limited pitch count. You're right that in 2-3 weeks, when other guys are going 100, 105, 110, then Yamamoto's limited pitch count becomes an increasing issue. But this early, when everybody's got a short leash, Yamamoto's the play.
Nailed it.
That was awesome. That was like Weather Channel Roth right there.
That was
copy and cheese like that lady.
Word for word, stole it from Cheese yesterday. But that is the answer, right? The reason is just comparatively, while he is on a limited pitch count, so is everybody else.
Yes, and officially Giannis Antetokounmpo is in.
As projected. Very good. We'll go to aside. Oh, this is a Kirkwood question. Who is your early candidate for most gutless MLB team this season? Who's gutless this year, Kirkwood?
It's going to be the Seattle Mariners.
Wow.
They didn't make any moves really. They've constantly underperformed. They've got a couple of good hitters and then a bunch of bad ones, and I think they're going to constantly underperform.
Yeah. Dean says Roth calls out the weather girl for copy pasting, then does exactly that 5 minutes later.
Well, it's funny because a lot of people have come to me and said that Dean actually recycles Cheese's content into his own. I don't think so. I don't think, I know Dean. He's a stand-up guy. Everything he's done for me, a lot of fantasy football drafts, yada, yada. I don't expect that out of him, but a lot of people have called him out on that.
Is it that he's perhaps just Dean is researching and then, as a good host should, he's educated and says smart things that he got from other people? Because it's not stealing, is it?
It's plagiarism.
I don't know. I think it's sort of his job. All right.
I know that's how I see it, but a lot of people say no, it's not.
That's what they've been saying in the streets. Plagiarism. Sorry, Dean, but that's what they've been saying. Bryce says, and I will let you each do this. If you had $100 to put on one player for one home run, where would it go? I hope this isn't a real. I hope he's not doing this, but maybe he is. Chris says $100 for a Tucker home run. I'll go $100 on a Jordan home run. Kirk,
I'll go $100 on a revenge Juan Soto home run after last night.
Yeah. Okay. TJ, $100.
I was considering Tucker as well, actually, but I'll go Ketel Marte.
There you go. All right. What else do we have? Is Alejandro Kirk better than the Big Dumper? Absolutely not. No. And the Big Dumper got paid, right? Didn't he just
Big Dumper's good. That's one of their good hitters.
Yeah, Big Dumper's the man. Will Skeens get channel caked is the username, not the question. The question is oyster flavored ice cream. Your thoughts, TJ?
Ban him.
Yeah, the username and the question both not acceptable. You're out. No, I
don't know, but like what they do, like avocado ice cream, like chefs do some stuff with ice cream that might be good, but yeah, I don't know. I would taste it.
You give it a go? I don't think I'd even give it a taste. Let's see. Here we go. Going through. Scrolling. Here we go. Pirates. Are the Pirates a good GPP stack on DK from Wendy? I feel like, did one of you bring them up?
Yeah, they're going to be pretty chalky tonight too. They're my favorite. They're my favorite, but I just like mini stacks with them.
Okay. Let's see. Did we hit lock yet? Favorite FanDuel GPP pitcher, TJ?
Yamamoto.
What was lock is
I
in
can
like
give one there
minute.
too because mine's Cease because I changed my lineup to Cease.
Yamamoto and Cease. We are seconds away from the lock. What are the dinner plans here? What are the dinner plans, boys? TJ, what you got?
I don't have any dinner plans right now. Actually, I had a couple grilled cheeses about an hour and a half ago, and so I'll probably have a late dinner in a couple hours.
I have a question for you.
Yeah,
I have been ordering from this since I moved to the suburbia. There's only like one takeout place that I like, really, for the most part, the delivery. I've been ordering it like 3 times a week to the point where my wife's embarrassed. She's like, "This is embarrassing." Like, it doesn't embarrass me. I'm still doing. Would that embarrass you at all?
You're talking to the guy who once went to McDonald's so much that the lady at the McDonald's drive-in gave me a Christmas gift.
So they know my name there's a McDonald's here too, and ever since I have the kid, I'm always driving around here or there. We pop. Plus he'll eat chicken nuggets. She's like, Chris. I'm like, yep, because I order on the app. She's like, she knows me. She's like, Chris. I'm like, yep. She's like, oh, pull up, Chris.
Yeah. Here's my question: Are you getting the food delivered or are you picking it up?
Delivered.
That's no. You should be embarrassed. That's just such a monumental waste of money. Just order it once, pick up 3 days worth of food, and then you've got 3 days worth of food.
You can't do that at McDonald's though.
No, not at McDonald's, but at this other place.
So like, what am I gonna this is like more like a pizza like sandwich. Like, so what I'm gonna do? Order a steak and cheese, a salad, and the pizza, and buffalo wings. And
yes,
maybe.
Yeah, and then you've got food, and then you saved $45.
All I'm saying is, I'm not embarrassed. I'm not embarrassed. And I asked the guy, "Am I their biggest, like the most,
or the number one customer?"
When you're rich, you don't have to do that, Roth. When you win this much money in DFS, as our guy Kirkdiese has, you don't got to worry about those deliveries.
No, I'm tight. I'm cheap. So
So wait. Were you the number one customer? I need the end of the story.
He said. By the amount of times I order, yes, but not from overall volume because they have they cater and throw a lot big orders. But
you're new in the neighborhood.
Yeah, but I was like, all right, give me, you gave me a challenge.
Right, give me a few years.
I have the biggest receipt of all time at my local comic book shop.
I'm intrigued. Biggest is in longest, most comics, or biggest is in most expensive purchase?
Most expensive. As in, I won a few, $100,000s of dollars in DFS, and then I created this room. And so that's kind of what happened.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty awesome. You want to share how much it was in comic stuff? And to be clear, you can resell them for the same amount of money, probably.
Yeah.
Don't share your location. Don't share your location.
It was statues and all.
Actually, don't say it. Someone's going to rob you. Don't say it.
That's what happens in Houston rappers a lot lately. Yeah.
Dude. Yeah, anywhere in H-Town,
I mean, all of this you can see all the stuff. It's not like it's.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm on here every day, and you can see all the things cooking. But
yeah, all right.
I'd watch out for Dean. Rumor is that he left Pepsi 7 high and dry years ago or something. So I think there was.
You mugged him.
Yeah. That's what I hear. I couldn't believe it again. People are telling me these things.
That's just what you hear from the streets.
I don't know if it's fact or fiction, but
Dean just can take Dean is such a good sport in literally everything. I love that guy. All right. Hey, we've hit the lock. We've surpassed the lock. Kirk's got sciatica. Yeah. TJ's got a baby. We gotta get out of here. So for TJ, for Kirk, for our wonderful production crew, always working hard behind the scenes. Guys, we appreciate you. We love you. And we will catch you tomorrow. You have been